नमस्कार सर।
दोस्तों नमस्कार। दादा आज हम मेवाड़ के सबसे प्रमुख महाराणा, वैसे सारे प्रमुख थे लेकिन सबसे प्रमुख महाराणा के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं, जिनका नाम महाराणा राज सिंह था। प्रमुख इसलिए क्योंकि जिस माहौल में इन्होंने वहां पर राजपाट संभाला था और उसके बाद में जो औरंगजेब ने मतलब हिंदुओं के ऊपर, सनातन धर्मियों के ऊपर अत्याचार किया था, उसका जो मुकाबला किया है वो कमेंडेबल है। और औरंगजेब को इन्होंने हराया था। ये भी हमारे इतिहास में कभी हमारे को पढ़ने को नहीं मिलता है। ये इस किताब से हमारे को पढ़ने को मिला कि महाराणा राज सिंह ने औरंगजेब को हराया था और पानी पिला दिया था। उसके बाद उसने दोबारा से मेवाड़ की तरफ को मुड़ के नहीं देखा।
जी जी।
तो उसके बाद में फिर तो औरंगजेब का मतलब पूरा मुगल एम्पायर ही खत्म हो गया। तो फिर मेवाड़ तो अपने आप में स्थापित रहा और आगे चलता रहा। तो आगे कौन से राजा आए हैं, कौन से महाराणा आए हैं, उसके बारे में ज्यादा हिस्ट्री में उसका मतलब रिलेवेंस भी नहीं है, क्योंकि कोई रिलेवेंस तब होता है किसी चीज में जब कहीं पर कोई इम्पोर्टेंट
इवेंट हो या कोई असर पड़े, हमारे सोसाइटी पे असर पड़े या देश का कोई मतलब उससे फायदा हो।
तो विदाउट वेस्टिंग मच ऑफ द टाइम, ऑलरेडी 14 मिनट ऊपर हो गए हैं। मैं थोड़ा सा आपको ये शेयर करता हूँ रत्नू साहब की किताब। मतलब रत्नू साहब का नाम तो स्वर्ण अक्षरों में लिखा जाएगा इतिहास में। इन्होंने पूरा जो, अगर कोई इसको पढ़ेगा और अपने नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को पास करेगा तो उनको जो इतिहास में हमारे मौलाना अब्दुल कलाम आजाद से लेकर के और गांधी परिवार, नेहरू परिवार ने जो अत्याचार किया है वो उसकी पूरी कलई खोल के रख दे रहे हैं कि क्या हो रहा है क्या। ये आ गया है महाराणा राज सिंह के बारे में। चैप्टर 16 में लिखा है इन्होंने, महाराणा राज सिंह, सेविंग ऑफ श्रीनाथ जी एंड डिफीट ऑफ औरंगजेब। इनका जो शासनकाल था वो 1652 से लेकर के 1680 तक था। दादा शुरू हो जाओ।
जी सर। महाराणा राज सिंह, सेविंग ऑफ श्रीनाथ जी एंड डिफीट ऑफ औरंगजेब, Christian era 1652 to 1680. With Maharana Raj Singh, we come to the end of the 1,000-year saga of the Mewar Maharanas, who had resolutely stood against the Islamic invaders for 1,000 glorious and uninterrupted years. A saga that is so surreal that without the meticulously preserved annals of Mewar and brilliant documentations of this saga by James Todd and Shamal Das would have remained unbelievable folklore only. We must also express gratitude to writers like Ranchhod Bhatt, Tailang, Gauri Shankar Hira Chandojha, Dr. Chandrasekhar Sharma, Rajendra Shankar Bhatt, Dr. L.P. Mathur, Professor K.S. Gupta, Dr. Manish Srimali, and many more, who kept reinforcing the research and documentation around the lives of these great Maharanas.
Yes. इसमें गोयल साहब ने और कर्नल तोड़ ने जो काम किया है वो तो कमेंडेबल है। वो तो अगर ये लोग गोयल मतलब कर्नल तोड़ का भी थोड़ा सा कुछ रेफरेंस दे देते अपनी हिस्ट्री बुक में तो भी हमारे जो हम लोग जब पढ़ रहे थे या हमारे जो जनरेशन है उनको मालूम पड़ता कि हाँ क्या असलियत थी। लेकिन वो तो जानबूझ के छुपाई गई थी, क्योंकि यहाँ पर तो एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी को प्लीज करना, अपील करना था कि भाई ठीक है तुम खुश रहो, तुम्हारी वजह से हम जीत करके वो करेंगे। एनीवे,
from Papa Rawal in the 8th century to Raj Singh towards the end of the 17th century, this royal house of Mewar kept producing kings who ceaselessly owed their allegiance to Hindu Dharma and paid every price conceivable to the human mind to live up to that allegiance. Mewar forged alliances with friendly and like-minded kings to defeat Hinduism. Mewar forged alliances with friendly and like-minded kings to defend Hinduism and honor of the kingdom. But at times, she was deserted by all and stood alone in a fight against the barbarians from West Asia. The epicenter of Mewar, Chittorgarh, was lost and regained by Mewar's kings at least twice during these 1,000 years of conflict. Each stone and brick of Chittor is a mute witness to the glory of these amazing Maharanas who kept the flag of freedom and dharma flying high through the sheer grit and determination of their conscience. There couldn't have been a better king than Raj Singh to have written the concluding chapter of this 1,000-year saga. Raj Singh inherited a prosperous and rejuvenated Mewar from Jagat Singh and was crowned the Maharana of Mewar on 22nd of October, Christian era 1652. For the next 28 years till his death, Raj Singh changed the course of Hindu history in the subcontinent irreversibly, and thus his life became a saga of legends that are part of everyday folklore of Rajasthan. We can look at the life of Raj Singh under three broad events: the Great Famine of Mewar and digging and construction of Rajsamand Lake, expansion of Mewar and war with Aurangzeb, manufacturing a pan-Hindu alliance. Now we come to
एक
number one,
मिनट,
the Great
दादा
Famine.
इसको थोड़ा हिंदी में समझा देते। राज सिंह ने 22 अक्टूबर 1692 को जगत सिंह के बाद वहां का राजपाट संभाला था, और राज सिंह ने जो हिंदू हिस्ट्री है उसको ही पूरा 28 साल में चेंज कर दिया। 28 साल तक वो राजा रहे वहां पर और उन्होंने हिस्ट्री चेंज कर दी। उसमें क्या हुआ, पहला तो ये है कि उन्होंने ये जो वहां पर मेवाड़ में एक लेक बनाई थी, जिसको हम लोग आज भी जाकर वहां पर देख सकते हैं, राजसामंद करके उसके लोग बोलते हैं, राजसामंद। दूसरा है, उन्होंने मेवाड़ का जो एरिया है, जो राजपाट था, उसको बढ़ाया है और औरंगजेब को हराया था। तीसरा यह है कि उन्होंने वहां पर जो हिंदू राजा थे दूसरे आसपास में, उनके साथ में अलायंस किया था, मतलब सनातन धर्म को मजबूत करने के लिए दोस्ती की थी। अब ये है ग्रेट फैमाइन ऑफ मेवाड़।
हाँ, तो एक पे आता हूँ, द ग्रेट फैमिन ऑफ मेवाड़। A mere 7 years after Raj Singh's ascension to the throne of Mewar, a devastating famine hit the kingdom. There were no rains for 3 consecutive years. The Rana went to different temples to pay homage to the gods to relieve the suffering of his people. Charbhuja, the four-armed Jagannath Mandir, among others, were visited by him to implore the grace of the divine, but the skies remained quiet. The condition of people is described in detail by the poet Maan in his work Raj Vilas, which has been translated into English by James Todd and draws a horrifying sketch of Mewar's sufferings. Todd writes, "For want of water, the world was in despair and people went mad with hunger. Things unknown as good were eaten. The husband abandoned the wife the husband. Parents sold their children. Time increased the evil. It spread far and wide. Even the insects died. They had nothing to feed on. The wind was from the west, a pestilential vapor. The constellations were always visible at night, nor was there a cloud in the sky by day, and thunder and lightning were unknown." Baapre, to bahut bura halat. Such portents filled mankind with dread. Rivers, lakes, and fountains were dried up. Men of wealth meted out the portions of food. The ministers of religion forgot their duties. There was no longer a distinction of caste, and the Shudra and the Brahman were indistinguishable. Strength, wisdom, caste, tribe, all were abandoned, and food alone was the object. The Char Varn threw away every symbol of separation. All was lost in hunger. Fruits, flowers, every vegetable thing, even trees were stripped of their bark to appease the cravings of hunger. Nay, man ate man. Cities were depopulated. The seed of families was lost. The fishes were extinct, and the hope of all extinguished. Such is the simple, बहुत खतरनाक स्थिति थी. Such is the simple yet terrific record of this pestilence from which Raj Singh extricated Mewar from his vision of constructing a massive artificial lake 50 kilometers north of Udaipur. ये भी बताएंगे सर हिंदी में थोड़ा सा, मतलब इस स्थिति देखिए, इतना मतलब खतरनाक उस समय थी कि लोगों को खा रहे थे, कुछ बचा ही नहीं, मतलब
सूखा पड़ गया था वहां पर कि ना तो वहां पर कोई शूद्र था, ना कोई ब्राह्मण था, ना वहां पर फल फ्रूट बचा हुआ था। जो सिटी थे वो सारे के सारे खाली हो गए थे, और हालत ये हो गई थी कि आदमी को खा रहा था,
पेड़ के पत्ते खा रहे थे,
बेच रहे थे, और क्या बोलते हैं, ये हस्बैंड अपनी वाइफ को छोड़ रहा था, वाइफ जो है अपने हस्बैंड को छोड़ रहा था। मतलब क्या बात है, मतलब इसको तो पढ़ करके रोना आता है। वो
देखिए कोई पानी का नामो निशान,
मैन मेड, जैसे वो अपना फेमाइन ऑफ बंगाल हुआ था,
नहीं, ये नेचुरल फेमाइन थी। तो ये सारा देखिए पानी का नामो निशान नहीं था कहीं। कैसे
तो दादा इससे एक बात निकल के आती है कि जब हमारे अंदर खाने के लिए पूरी प्रचुर मात्रा में हमारे पास में सामग्री होती है, तभी हमारे को वर्ण याद आते हैं कि हाँ कौन ठाकुर है, कौन ब्राह्मण है, कौन क्षत्रिय है, कौन शूद्र है। जब जिस समय खाने को नहीं होता तो सारे सारे एक हो जाते हैं। मतलब
बिल्कुल,
दिस प्रॉस्पेरिटी इज द इविल। जो प्रॉस्पेरिटी
करेक्ट
वो इविल है।
प्रॉस्पेरिटी एंड डिजायर फॉर मोर इज द इविल।
ये जो है यहाँ पे बोल रहा है चार वर्णा, ये
threw away every symbol of separation and all was lost in hunger।
भूखे रहोगे तो आपको वर्ण याद नहीं आएगा, मतलब नहीं उठता।
बिल्कुल सर।
अगर आपका पेट भरा है, मैं वही बोला ना, सीधी बात तो ये है। मैं पहले भी बोल रहा था, एक दिन प्रदीप को बोला, प्रदीप बोलता ऐसा नहीं होता। मैंने कहा भाई अगर आपका पेट भरा हुआ है तभी आप मंदिर जाओगे। आपका अगर पेट भरा नहीं है तो आप पहले खाना ढूंढोगे, उसके बाद मंदिर जाओगे, पूजा करोगे।
तो दिमाग में भी गलत चीज उसी समय आने लगता है ना, जब पेट खाली नहीं रहता, भरा हुआ रहता, तो आदमी सोचता है इसके पीछे पड़े और पैसे बनाए।
हाँ वो तो है ना। मैंने अभी आप अगर ये स्ट्रीम खत्म हो जाएगा उसके बाद में बताऊंगा कि our most dreaded enemy is our mind.
Correct, sir.
And the mind is controlled by ego.
Exactly.
तो माइंड क्या करता है, हमारे पास्ट की जो हमारे इंसिडेंट्स होते हैं उसे हमारे को फियर साइकोसिस अकोमोडेट करके रखता है। और
ये चला जाएगा, वो चला जाएगा।
हाँ ठीक है, देखो पीछे ऐसे हुआ था, आगे भी ऐसा होगा। तो वी डोंट लिव इन द प्रेजेंट।
रोकने के चक्कर में कुछ हमारे मतलब खिलाफ हम खड़े हो जाते हैं, तो जो हमारे लिए हानिकारक होता है आखिरकार वो हानिकारक ही होता है हमारे लिए। हम जो हरकत करते हैं ना,
डर कर रही हूँ कि अगर किसी के पास में मान लो वेल्थ आ गया, सपोज कोई बंदा लखपति बन गया, तो वो क्या सोचता है, चलो यार लखपति बन गया, मेरे पास इतनी ताकत तो है, मैं लखपति बन गया तो मैं करोड़पति बन जाता हूँ। सो दैट माय नेक्स्ट जनरेशन आल्सो विल
लिव इन प्रोस्पेरिटी। लिव इन प्रोस्पेरिटी जो होता नहीं है, लास्टली होता नहीं है वो। In Christian era 1661, Maharana Raj Singh visited the famous Roopnarayan temple and chanced upon the dry Gomti river. देखिए नदी भी सूख गई थी, and inquired if a lake or an embankment could be dug to collect the waters of the river. The Samans and the royal priest informed the king that his great-grandfather Amar Singh had attempted to construct a pond on this river, but because of the might of the river, the task could not be completed.
अच्छा, इतना तेज बहती थी वो। ओके,
उस समय तेज बहती थी, बाद में तो सूख गई ना ये गोमती नदी। If a huge lake were constructed, then this would be a worthy endeavor.
Okay.
Raj Singh, meditating on the extreme distress of his people, were determined to raise a monument by which the wretched might be supported, monsoon water be harvested, and his own name perpetuated. This was named Raj Samudra, Royal Sea. The digging of the Raj Samudra.
जो मनोज झा ने बोला था कि वो ठाकुर का कुआं और ठाकुर का ये वो जो बकवास किया था, यहाँ पर भी तो है। राजा साहब ने तो बनवाया ना लेक, किसके लिए बनवाया था?
अपने लिए थोड़ी ना बनवाया।
तो ठाकुर लोग जब बनवाते थे उस जमाने में, वो लोग क्या अपने लिए बनवाते थे? सभी तो पानी पीते थे। तुम ये हो, तुम शूद्र हो तो तुम इसमें पानी नहीं पियोगे या ये नहीं करोगे। दैट वाज फॉर द नॉर्मल पब्लिक ना।
बिल्कुल। अब ये बाद में जिनका पेट भरा हुआ था, आप सही बोले, वही लोग ये सब किए है ना, नहीं तो लोग एक ही साथ थे। मतलब हर आदमी अपना काम में लगा हुआ था।
दूसरा ये है कि वो कुएं के रिलेवेंस कहाँ है आज की डेट में? जहां पर भी जितने भी कुएं हैं वो सारे के सारे खत्म हो गए। ना कोई ठाकुर रहा, ना कोई ब्राह्मण रहा, ना कुछ रहा। सबके सब अपना खाने पीने के चक्कर में कोई कहीं जाता है, कोई कहीं जाता है, इर्रेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ कास्ट एंड क्रीड, कुछ भी घूमता रहता है। तो ये सब बकवास करने की जरूरत क्या थी उसको, मनोज झा को वहां पर जबरदस्ती में एक जातिवाद का चुतियापा घुसेड़ने के लिए? और हाँ ठीक है। डिगिंग
ऑफ द राज समुद्र, ये राज समंद बन गया बाद में। द डिगिंग ऑफ द राज समुद्र began on 20 12th of January, Christian era, 1662. The foundation for the embankments began to be laid on the 8th of May, Christian era 1665. It took 16 years to complete the construction
Wow.
of the Raj Samudra,
Wow.
now
दादा एक
known as the...
दादा ये कभी आए थे? 1658 में आए थे ना ये?
हाँ हाँ
1958 में आए थे, 1658 में आए थे।
हाँ 58 ऊपर ही दिया हुआ सर,
52 में आए थे। ओके,
अच्छा
52 में आए थे और 62 में ये तमाशा हुआ। बाप रे, अच्छा 62 में ये हो गया, मतलब बेचारे। अच्छा 7 साल तक सूखा पड़ा था, तो he would have been contemplating करना क्या है, तो चक्कर में उनको 10 साल लग गए फिर। अच्छा, ऐसा हुआ होगा। और आफ्टर 3 years of his reign तब जाके सूखा पड़ा होगा, ऐसा हो सकता है।
It took 16 years to complete. जी हाँ, सूखा बाद में ही पड़ा हुआ होगा उनके राजगद्दी पे आने के बाद ही. It took 16 years to complete the construction of the Raj Samudra.
81 हो गया। अच्छा 81 तक रहा।
Now known as the Rajsamand. Hundreds of thousands of ordinary people were given work, and Raj Singh opened the state coffers to his people through this magnificent construction.
देखो कैसे हुआ? By constructing the lake, he has given the work also, so that they can get the wages, so that they can survive also. ऐसा भी था ना?
बिल्कुल. The Rajsamand was fed by 3 rivers, namely the Gomti, Tali, and Kelva. The dam forms an irregular settlement of a circle, embracing an extent nearly 3 miles, encircling the waters on every side except the space between the northwestern and northeastern points. This barrier, which confined a sheet of water of great depth, is about 12 miles in circumference, entirely of white marble, with a flight of steps of the same material throughout this extent, from the summit to the water's edge, the whole buttressed by an enormous rampart of earth. देखिए, मार्बल भी लगवा दिया, तो ऑर्डिनरी पत्थर लगवा सकते थे, मतलब मार्बल निकालने के लिए भी तो लोग चाहिए वहां, तो ऑर्डिनरी पत्थर भी लगा।
मार्बल निकलवाया होगा, उसमें भी उनका ये मार्बल निकालने में जो पब्लिक काम करेगी उनको भी
उनको भी पैसे मिलेंगे। जी और चीज भी बढ़िया बनेगा एकदम। The Rajsamand is an architectural masterpiece with the town and the fortress situated on the southern end, and upon the embankment stands the temple of Kakaroli, dedicated to Shri Krishna. According to Todd, कितना इसमें है? 11,50,000 pounds sterling. 11,50,000 pounds sterling उस समय were contributed by the Rana, his chiefs, and opulent subjects. Was expended on this work. Shamal Das records that इसमें है 1,05,47,000
रुपया were spent.
हाँ बाप रे।
राणा ही चीफ अच्छा राणा ने भी किया
सबको,
ने किया और
जो
पब्लिक ने भी किया।
समृद्ध व्यक्ति जो उनके किंगडम में थे वो भी पैसे खर्च किए। तो श्यामल दास जी रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं कि 1,47,584 रुपए स्पेंड किया गया था कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए। Such is the simple yet terrifying record of this pestilence when Aurangzeb provoked religious warfare with all its attendant atrocities, which despite Raj Singh's benevolent works was to devastate this fair and just religion still further. देखिए ये मतलब इस समय जो लोग कल्याण का काम करना चाह रहे थे, तो औरंगजेब उस समय मतलब रिलीजियस वॉरफेयर छेड़ दिए विद अटेंडेंट एट्रोसिटीज, मतलब उनका रिलीजन के साथ जो कुछ आता है सारा वो छेड़े समय। This assault met with just retribution as Aurangzeb was cast into ignominy, causing grave prejudice among the Rajputs and laying the ground for the end of the Mughals. Maharana Raj Singh, having taken care of the worst suffering and economic disaster of Mewar, prepared for a final assault on the Islamic zealotry of Aurangzeb to weed out Muslim imperialism permanently. एक तरफ तो ये काम चल रहा था कंस्ट्रक्शन का,
वो डिस्टर्ब कर रहा था कि साला अगर ये लोग ऐसे भूखे मर जाएंगे तो हमारे कन्वर्ट हो जाएंगे और मुसलमान बन जाएंगे, फिर हम बोलेंगे ठीक है हम तुम्हारे को खाना खिलाते हैं। वाह।
उस समय देखिए मार्बल ये सब लगवा कर जो बना है आज तक खड़ा हो। एक्सपेंशन ऑफ मेवाड़ एंड वॉर्स विद औरंगजेब, as we have seen in the chapters of Namar Singh, Karan Singh, and Jagat Singh, after the Mewar Mughal Treaty of Christian era 1616, Mewar witnessed uninterrupted tranquility and prosperity for half a century. मतलब 50 साल मतलब शांति से निकला वहां मेवाड़ में, लोग शांति से रह रहे थे, which helped her to replenish its
16 से
resources
52
and manpower. Which helped her to replenish its resources and manpower to fight one final war with the Mughals, which eventually hastened the downfall of Mughal rule in Delhi. Shah Jahan had grown old at the time of Raj Singh's ascendance to the throne of Mewar. A bloody war of succession broke out between his sons Dara Shikoh, Shuja-ud-Dawla, Muhyiddin Aurangzeb, and Murad Bakhsh. The Mughals had no tradition of primogeniture, that is, the system bequeathing of rule upon a ruler's death to his eldest son. Instead, it was customary for sons to overthrow their father and for brothers to war to death amongst themselves. और इनका मतलब इनका रीति रिवाज यही था कि जो आपस में भाई लोग लड़कर जगह बना ले, बड़ा लड़का बनेगा, ऐसा कोई रीति थी नहीं।
यहाँ तक है कि बाप को भी मार दो अगर मौका मिले।
हाँ हाँ,
क्या बात है, क्या बात है। जब बाहर से सुन रहे हो आप बाहर सुनो, ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा, अंदर आने का अच्छा फिर है। ओके
जी जी जी। The final outcome of the succession of war rested heavily on whose side Mewar would tilt. All the four sons of Shah Jahan wrote letters to Raj Singh seeking help from him. Raj Singh was personally Raj Singh was personally inclined towards Dara Shikoh, who was an extremely liberal individual in matters of religion and had even gotten the Upanishads translated into Persian. Besides, Dara was also recognized as a scholar. Aurangzeb eventually outmaneuvered and killed everyone who opposed his ambitions. His father, his brothers, and even his sons who opposed him became victims in his mad lust for power, which eventually destroyed the Mughal rule itself. Dara was defeated by Aurangzeb in the Battle of Samugarh near Agra and was finally put to death in Christian era 1659. Murad was abducted at Mathura and executed in Gwalior at the behest of Aurangzeb in Christian era 1661. Shuja had been the governor of Bengal but grew ambitious and was eventually overcome by Aurangzeb's forces. He escaped eastwards to Burma and was killed there by the locals.
दादा एक मिनट, जो वो बैटल ऑफ जौनपुर की बात कर रहे थे हम लोगों को सुजाउद्दौला के साथ में हुआ ना शायद इसका।
हाँ, ये बिहार और उधर मतलब यूपी के तरफ ही हुई, क्योंकि उसमें पटना में भी ये थे ना, सुजाउद्दौला पटना में भी थे। मुर्शिदाबाद यहाँ कैपिटल था लेकिन वो पटना में बेस थे वो, वहां से यूपी भी नजदीक है। द पॉलिसीज ऑफ जहांगीर एंड शाहजहां ऑफ aligning with the powerful Mewar dynasty in order to cement a strong foothold in the northwest were abandoned by Aurangzeb to his peril. It is noteworthy that Shah Jahan and Jahangir had Rajput Hindu mothers and thus belonged to the bloodline that made them relatively tolerant and wise to rule a nation as complex as Bharat, which was 95% Hindu. Aurangzeb's unmixed Tata blood brought no Rajput sympathies to his aid.
वो हिंदू थी ये बोल रहा है, दैट मीन जहांगीर की
बाकी लोग जी जी जी।
अच्छा, जहांगीर की वाइफ
शाहजहां एंड जहांगीर had Rajput Hindu mothers, मतलब उनकी माताएं जो हिंदू थे।
जहांगीर की जो वाइफ है, जहांगीर की वाइफ तो नूरजहां थी।
नहीं, जहांगीर की वाइफ मुसलमान थी लेकिन जहांगीर की माता ये तो हिंदू थी, शाहजहां की माता जी हिंदू थी। ये बोल रहे थे कि औरंगजेब
की माता हिंदू थी, मतलब वो जहांगीर की वाइफ हुई ना।
हाँ ठीक है, हाँ।
जहांगीर की वाइफ तो नूरजहां थी, वो नूरजहां का लड़का था। ये हिंदू कैसे लिख रहा है यहाँ पे?
लिख रहा है यहाँ देखिए, लेकिन औरंगजेब के बारे में बता रहे हैं, औरंगजेब अनमिक्स्ड टाटा ब्लड, उनका मतलब ब्लड में कोई मिक्सचर नहीं था बोल रहे। थोड़ा सा ये जगह हम लोग को देखना पड़ेगा। औरंगजेब अनमिक्स्ड टाटा ब्लड, मतलब उधर सेंट्रल एशियन ब्लड, brought no Rajput sympathies to his aid. On the contrary, every noble family of Rajasthan stood with Shah Jahan and Dara in the Mughal war of succession. Aurangzeb's bigotry and evangelistic lust outweighed any policy making, and he began an unrelenting and self-destructive persecution of Hindus in general and Rajputs in particular. Renewal of resistance to the Mughals after the Treaty of Christian
एक
era
मिनट
16th.
एक मिनट, अभी ये एक प्रॉब्लम हो गया था। जहांगीर की बीवी के बारे में ढूंढते हैं, कौन है ये, है
शाहजहां का भी देखा जाए, दोनों का ही देखा जाए।
हाँ,
मैं जहांगीर की पत्नी कौन थी और शाहजहां और औरंगजेब की माँ भी कौन थी, ये भी देखना जरूरी है। इतने वाइफ रखते थे। अब क्योंकि यहाँ बोल रहा है औरंगजेब अनमिक्स्ड टाटा ब्लड।
ये लिख रहा है जहांगीर की वाइफ के बारे में, नूर जहां है, कोका कुमारी बेगम है, कोई साहिला बानू है, खास महल है, कमल रानी बेगम है, मतलब ये कुछ हिंदू भी थी। तो अब इसे देखना पड़ेगा शाहजहां की मम्मी कौन थी, ये देखना पड़ेगा।
हाँ, माता जी कौन थी। जी जी जी, वही तो मैं बोल रहा था, इनकी बीवियां तो का मतलब ढेर सारे होते थे, और भी बांदिया वांदिया मिलाकर बड़ा बीवियों का फौज ही मतलब खड़ा रहता था, इसलिए याद भी नहीं रहता सब।
सी वाज अ बंगाली, ओके, गोसाई थी, हैं? Manavati Bai, also spelled as Manavati Bai, better known by her title Jagat Gosai, saint of the world, was the second wife of Jahangir and mother of Shah Jahan. ऐसा बोल रहा है मनी बाई। She is also known as मनी बाई, मनी मनमती के, मतलब ताज बीबी भी बोलते हैं उसको, वैसे करके बोलते थे। फिर क्या है,
नाम तो बदल,
पोस्टमस टाइटल ऑफ बिल्किस मलकानी करके बोलते थे इसको। मैं थोड़ा सा इसको दिखा देता हूँ, पब्लिक को दिखा देता हूँ, ज्यादा चलेगा।
जी जी,
इसको जरूरी है दिखाना, क्योंकि यहाँ पर
औरंगजेब की माता जी कौन थी, ये भी हम निकालेंगे।
देखते हैं उसको, पहले तो इसको दिखा देते हैं कि जहांगीर के तो मम्मी का तो मालूम है, सी वो अकबर की जो होती ना, वो जो जयपुर वाली आई थी, इसको जोधाबाई बोलते थे, वो तो समझ में आ रहा है। बट शाहजहां की बीबी के मम्मी के बारे में था, तो लेट अस सी कि अगर ये समझ में आए पब्लिक को। शाहजहां की मम्मी का असली नाम ये था भाई, नूरजहां नहीं थी। नूरजहां थी उसकी बीबी, पहली वाली बीबी थी, 4-5 बीबियों में से एक बीबी ये थी, ये है मानवती बाई। अब ये थी कौन, कहाँ पे थी, कहाँ की है ये? born on 13th May 1573, she was known popularly as, ठीक है, जोधपुर की थी वो, ओके,
जोधपुर की थी। अच्छा,
she belonged to the Rajput clan of Rajput and was daughter of राजा उदय सिंह की लड़की थी, ओके। अच्छा, उदयपुर बना है ना, उनकी लड़की थी ये, रूलर ऑफ मेवाड़।
सर ये बहुत अच्छा किए, क्योंकि ये हम लोगों को पता नहीं था और ये जानना सबको जरूरी भी था।
ओके, Rajput and was the daughter of Raja Uday Singh, the ruler of Marwar. Uday Singh was popularly known by the
sovereign के मोटा राजा, the fat king, क्योंकि मोटे थे वो।
Her mother was Rajwat Kachwa Manarang Devi, the principal consort of her father and daughter of Raja अच्छा, was also,
आपस में सब रिलेटेड थे, मतलब
शादी कैसे हुआ ये यहाँ पे आएगा ना ये। According to Munilal, the young Jagat Gosai is said to have caught the eye of Prince Salim when he was attending the function with his mother and other senior ladies of the harem. He is said to have immediately proposed, but the emperor was reluctant to give his consent, but only agreed upon his Successor of Hamida Banu. अच्छा. She married the 16-year-old Prince Salim and so, or
हाँ
6 and
ठीक है.
7. Akbar himself
देखिए
become
इसमें हिंदू हिंदू रीति रिवाज भी फॉलो किया गया था मैरिज सेरेमनी में, और मुस्लिम
Hindu fire.
रिवाज भी.
Okay.
हाँ,
The marriage ceremony was a lavish one, featuring both Hindu fire ceremonies in presence of chanting Sanskrit verses as well as Muslim properties in the presence of Qadi and
proprieties in the presence of Qadi and an array of military and civil dignitaries. वो दोनों तरीके से मतलब शादी हुई, विवाह भी और शादी भी.
Her paternal cousin Rana Kalyan Das Rathod took offense of the marriage and was angry at Mota Raja. Okay. He informed Akbar to order him to kill Kalyan Das. Kalyan Das fled the
स्वाभाविक बात है.
Raj Singh sent his two sons Gopal Jai Singh to Simana, but the fort and opponent proved too strong and they were forced to flee back. In the course of this, Mota Raja received permission from Akbar to leave his imperial camp. After his return to Marwar, he led a force against Simana himself. Kalyan Das, realizing defeat in imminent, had his wife perform Jauhar and himself led his men to die.
कल्याण दास भी मर गए ना लड़ते हुए.
Wow.
अच्छा, she was granted the title of Jagat Gosai on account of her ability and learning. मतलब पढ़ी लिखी थी वो, इसलिए एक्चुअली वो कृष्ण भगवान के मतलब इन लोग भक्त होते होंगे, उसके विषय में मतलब उसी संदर्भ में पढ़ाई लिखाई उसी तरफ मतलब की होगी.
Marwar alliance with Mughal would have broken down due to religious estrangement and this not been bound by blood ties. Okay.
Blood ties.
Okay.
ये राजपूत लोगों के साथ ब्लड टाइज था ही ना.
अच्छा ठीक है, अब तो ये हो गया. अब हम वो दूसरा देखते हैं कि इसकी मम्मी कौन थी.
इसमें काफी कुछ पता चला, अच्छा रहा ये. हम लोग अंदाज लगाते हैं कि हम लोगों को तो एक ही नाम याद आता है, नूरजहां और वो.
हाँ, हम लोग उसकी जो पहली वाली रानी होती है उसका ही बताते हैं ना कि हाँ ये है.
जी.
मुमताज महल, औरंगजेब मदर मुमताज महल थी भाई. अभी मुमताज महल कौन है?
ये किसकी बेटी थी ये देखना जरूरी है. मतलब इनमें टाटा ब्लड, मतलब ये क्या तुर्क थी? टर्किश डिसेंट.
इसका बाप कौन था वो देखना पड़ेगा ना.
वही. अर्जुमंद बानो बेगम in Agra to a family of Persian nobility.
ये देखो, मुमताज born Arjumand Banu Begum in Agra to a family of Persian nobility. She was the daughter of Abul Hasan Asaf. हो गया भाई, मम्मी वो है. चलो ठीक है, समझ गए.
इसमें एक और कहानी है ये. मतलब ये पहले किसकी बीवी थी देखिए.
Who held high office in the Mughal Empire and niece of Empress Noor Jahan. क्या है ये? उसकी भतीजी थी ना ये. The chief wife of Emperor Jahangir and the power behind the emperor. She was married at the age of 19 to Prince Khurram. सीधा 19 साल में शादी उसके साथ ही हुई यार.
जी.
किसी और की बीवी नहीं थी. 19 साल में शादी इसी साथ पे हुई.
नहीं, नीचे देखिए, नीचे पड़ी. नहीं एक जगह देखिए सर ये क्या लिख रहा. Although betrothed to Shah Jahan since 1607, she ultimately became second wife in 1612. इसका मतलब क्या?
Although क्या लिखा, इसका मतलब क्या होता है भाई? एंगेज ना,
मतलब एंगेजमेंट. हाँ.
Is the period of time between the declaration of the acceptance of a marriage proposal and the marriage itself. During this period.
अरे जो सगाई बोलते हैं हम लोग हिंदी में, जो सगाई बोलते हैं ना.
हाँ.
सगाई के बाद तो मतलब विवाह होती है ना. तो सेकंड वाइफ कैसे हो गई?
She ultimately became his second wife Mumtaz and her husband had.
मतलब पहले ये मतलब हाँ ये राजा साहब पहले
नहीं, वो उसके हाँ एक मिनट, मैंने नूरजहां पिक्चर देखी थी, वो नूरजहां पिक्चर में बड़ा बवाल हुआ था, मतलब ये जो यहाँ के जो लोकल थे ना, जिसको जहांगीर के जो चमचे थे, दे नेवर वांटेड कि ये शादी करे, तो इन्होंने किसी और से शादी करवा दी थी खुर्रम की।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा।
अभी देखते
तो
हैं
ये
फर्स्ट वाइफ
कहानी,
कौन है।
तो
हाँ,
ये कहानी है।
फर्स्ट वाइफ कौन है
और
सीरियल।
औरंगजेब छठा मतलब बच्चा था मुमताज महल का।
नहीं नहीं, पहले देखते हैं
6
शाहजहां की पहली वाइफ कौन है फिर।
जी जी।
तो वाइफों का पूरा पूरा टोकरा लेके घूमते ना चूतिया लोग।
हाँ हाँ हाँ।
ये थी वही कंधारी बेगम थी कोई, ये थी वो पहली वाली।
ये भी पर्शियन,
कंधार मतलब अफगानिस्तान। यस।
नहीं लेकिन पर्शिया लिख ग्रेट ग्रैंडसन ऑफ शाह इस्माइल द फर्स्ट ऑफ पर्शिया।
ओके।
चलिए वो एक ही बात है, मैं बगल में ही तो है।
तो वहां पर भी तो साले वही तो आकर के
हाँ
सत्यानाश
बैठते
किया
थे
उन
सब।
लोगों ने, पर्शियन ने सत्यानाश किया यहाँ पे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
अब हम वापस
ये
चले जाते हैं अपने चैप्टर पे।
जी 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 जी। और ये अच्छा रहा, ये जानना जरूरी था, क्योंकि हम लोग तो एक ही नाम लेकर चलते हैं, हम लोग को पता भी नहीं रहता। किताब में भी इतना थोड़ी ना रहता है, कोई हिस्ट्री किताब।
नहीं मतलब डॉक्टर साहब को थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में भी क्लैरिफाई कर देना चाहिए था कि भाई लेकिन ठीक है,
बिल्कुल।
उन्होंने तो क्या दर्शकों भी कुछ काम करें ना, जो पढ़ते हैं वो भी कुछ काम करें, इसलिए छोड़ दिया हुआ उसको। You would have taken for granted. हाँ। Aurangzeb bigotry and
Unmixed start, Aurangzeb's
began.
bigotry and evangelistic lust outweighed any policy making, and he began an unrelenting and self-destructive persecution of Hindus in general and Rajputs in particular. राजपूत लोगों के particularly एक उनका आक्रोश था, और राजपूतों पे, हिंदुओं पे तो था ही, particularly राजपूतों पे उनका पता नहीं कोई मतलब आक्रोश था। Renewal of resistance to the Mughals after the Treaty of Christian Era 1616 between Mewar and the Mughals can be credited to Raj Singh. His legacy as a protector of Hindu Dharma and as an able, just, and fearless ruler should forever be etched in Indian history. He was a deeply ambitious Hindu monarch who not only wanted to regain every inch of Mewar but also expand its horizons to the entire North and West India and eventually defeat the Mughals in Delhi. इनका मतलब बहुत दूर का मतलब ये विजन था। राज सिंह began his work many years
40
before.
साल शांति से खूब कमाया था ना, खूब इकट्ठा किया था ना, धन दौलत और असला इकट्ठा किया होगा, उस चक्कर में उनको बोला चलो से हमारा मौका मिल गया है, अब बजाते हैं तुम्हारी, लेकिन वो फेमाइन ने गड़बड़ कर दिया ना।
जी जी जी। Raj Singh began his work many years before Aurangzeb grabbed power in Delhi. अच्छा, पहले से ये लगे हुए थे। He used Tikadar, the name given to hunting expeditions by Mewar kings, to slowly nibble away at the neighboring kingdoms. He annexed Malpura in one such hunting expedition and thus expanded Mewar to the frontiers of Ajmer, challenging the Mughals directly. ये मतलब हंटिंग एक्सपेडिशन पे निकलते थे, लेकिन धीरे धीरे टेरिटरी चाइना जैसा धीरे धीरे काट काट कर मतलब जोड़ देते थे अपने।
जहां पर हमारा शिकार जो है मतलब शिकार सक्सेसफुल हो गया, वो हमारा एरिया हो गया, ऐसा सोचते होंगे।
जी जी। नहीं ठीक है, ये भी बढ़िया पॉलिसी है, मतलब चाइना नया नहीं कर रहे। शाहजहां was the Mughal king then chose to look the other way amidst these adventures by Raj Singh and is quoted as saying, "Oh, it is only a folly of my nephew." अच्छा, उनको nephew मानते थे। Shahjahan thought of Karan Singh, Raj Singh's grandfather, as his adopted brother. Shahjahan thought of Karan Singh, Raj Singh's grandfather, as his adopted brother.
एक मिनट, मतलब ये कुछ भी कहते रहे, ये उदय सिंह की लड़की जो इसकी मम्मी है ना, उसने इसको सिखाया हुआ कि तू झगड़ा मत करना इनके साथ में, भाई शांति से रहे।
हाँ, बेमतलब का जो है। हाँ,
ये तेरे भाई है, तेरे भाई तेरा खून ही है सब कुछ, तू ज्यादा गड़बड़ मत करना।
Raj Singh continued his motives to irritate Shahjahan by repairing the Chittor fort on a war footing, which was disallowed according to the treaty, destroyed masjids in and around Mewar, and publicly beheading Muslims who would indulge in cow slaughter.
जो गाय को मारता था उनको सीधा से काट दिया
would indulge in cow slaughter, publicly behead कर देते मुसलमान लोगों को, who would indulge in cow slaughter, जो गाय को मारता था उनका सर कलम कर देता था. Shahjahan then decided to move to Ajmer with
फिर चलो दिखाते हैं तुम्हारे क्या होता है. Anyway, हाँ.
Shahjahan then decided to move to Ajmer with a force of 30,000 horsemen with an intention to confront Raj Singh in Christian era 1654. The Mughal emperor deputed a Brahmin, Chandrabhan, to reach out to Raj Singh and get him to tone down his ambitions. अच्छा कोशिश भी की पहले कि संधि वंधि हो जाए, झगड़ा झमेला ना हो.
शांति से बैठ भाई, तमाशा कर रहा है.
Before Chandrabhan could reach Mewar, Raj Singh himself sent his emissaries, Madhusudan Bhatt and Raj Singh Jhala, to the Mughal general Sadullah Khan, who captured Chittor and was laying it to waste. Given below is the conversation that took place between Sadullah Khan and Mewar's emissaries. जो दूध गए थे मेवाड़ से सदुल्ला खान से मिलने, उनका ये सदुल्ला. अब ये कॉन्वर्सेशन है. सदुल्ला, हाउ कम उदयपुर राजपूत बिहेव सो ऑटोनोमसली? ये अपना स्वतंत्र रूप से कैसे, मतलब उदयपुर के राजपूत लोग कैसे चल इस तरह, मतलब जो भी हो उनका.
Have you guys forgotten that Shahjahan is the emperor? अच्छा, Shahjahan बादशाह है. Okay, हाँ.
Have you guys forgotten that Shahjahan is the emperor? Mewar's emissaries. Udaipur Rajputs have earned the right to be in Delhi and Udaipur simultaneously. This is a tradition being followed since Rawat Megh Singh and Shakti Singh went with Jahangir and Akbar respectively. अच्छा, वो जाते थे उनके साथ ना. वही सुना दिए कि हम लोग तो दिल्ली में रहते ही थे, तो हमारा राइट बनता है.
शक्ति सिंह को क्यों बुलाया था तुम लोगों ने? सही बात है.
Sadullah, does this mean you Rajputs have started considering Delhi a second great power? Mewar's emissaries, no, but neither is Mewar a second great power.
Second great
Mewar's
power. Okay, अच्छा.
मेवाड़ कोई सेकंड ग्रेड पावर नहीं है, मतलब हम बराबरी में है मुगल लोगों के साथ.
आगे बढ़ो.
Mewar's Rajputs will settle in Delhi or Udaipur depending on their own will. हमारा जो मर्जी, हम उदयपुर में रहे, दिल्ली में रहे, हमारा मर्जी से हम चलेंगे, बसेंगे. Sadhuwala, really? If Udaipur wants to pick a fight with Delhi, you are most welcome. How many horses does Raj Singh have? Mewar's emissaries? 26,000. Sadullah, Shahjahan has 1 lakh. How can he fight us? Mewar's emissaries. 26,000 are sufficient for a fight. That was the kind of army Raj Singh commanded, besides the infantry and elephant force in the early days of his confrontation with Mughals. By the time Aurangzeb invaded Mewar, Maharana's army had multiplied to take on frontally with Aurangzeb. After this failed attempt, Raj Singh approached Dara Sikho and sent his trusted nobles along with his son Sultan Singh to the court of Shahjahan. Shahjahan treated the boy Sultan Singh with love and respect, and a temporary truce materialized between Mewar and the Mughals once again. Sandhi ho gayi. Raj Singh understood that a disunited Hindu leadership and an ill-conceived strategy to fight the Mughals would stymie the plan he had in his mind, and therefore decided to fortify Mewar further. अच्छा, और मतलब सोचे कि अभी समय नहीं है, थोड़ा सा और मजबूत हो जाए. He now reached out to the other princely states of Rajasthan, mainly Jodhpur, Bikaner and Jaipur, to forge a Hindu alliance. He even sent emissaries to the intrepid Maratha leadership. As mentioned earlier, by Christian era 1659, Aurangzeb had eliminated all his 3 brothers. The magnanimous Dara, the impetuous Murad, and the hyperactive Shuja all met the same tragic end. Aurangzeb imprisoned his father Shahjahan, and thus began the final chapter of conflict between Mewar and the Mughals under the 2 most committed and ablest leaders on either side. It is shameful and tragic for Hindus of this land that the amazing saga of Hindu victory over Mughals has been completely erased out from our history.
Repeat it for the benefit of the viewers. Kya baat hai?
It is shameful and tragic for Hindus of this land that the amazing saga of Hindu victory over Mughals has been completely erased from our history.
Loud and clear. Raj Singh ने हराया था इसको, सुन लो भाई.
बिल्कुल. The story gains immense significance for the simple fact that for the initial 20 years of his vengeful reign, Aurangzeb was challenged and defeated by Raj Singh. If Aurangzeb had not been challenged and defeated by Raj Singh, we can only imagine the slaughter and plunder that the Hindus of the subcontinent would have faced. This is a saga of humongous significance, as it forced Aurangzeb to completely abandon his desire of conquest of Rajasthan and shift forever to Deccan and the Far East Assam. अच्छा इसीलिए वो डेक्कन
उन्होंने बोला इधर पैसा नहीं है दिमाग खराब करने का, चलो भाग लेते हैं, जाके मराठा लोगों से लड़ाई करते हैं, ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा।
और आसाम में भी कुछ खास कुछ कर नहीं पाया
उसने वहां पर भी जाकर के क्या कर लिया।
जी जी, this is a saga that demonstrates the abilities of Rajput kingdoms to forget their differences and forge alliances against a common enemy when Hindu Dharma was under siege. It is a saga that brings us to the closure of the immortal conflicts of Mewar with Islamic imperialism. Who better than the great Raj Singh of Mewar could be the protagonist of the culmination of this 1,000-year-old saga of civilizational conflict with a great Hindu Dharma on one side and a barbaric death cult of the invaders on the other. Three events, all of equal significance, need to be narrated and understood clearly to grasp the scope and build-up of the Mewar-Mughal conflict under Raj Singh. After Aurangzeb, the Mughal rule over Delhi crumbled for the singular reason that the Mughal-Rajput alliance was completely shattered by Raj Singh. Mughals and Rajputs were now enemies. From this point of view, Raj Singh was the most important pivot of Rajput unity after Sangha. इकट्ठे किए ना सब लोगों को, मतलब बाकी जो रियासतें थी
मुगल की, उनको सबको अपनी तरफ मिला लिया ना उसने। ये
जी 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 जी, the Charumati episode.
Charumati episode, ये क्या है भाई?
Kishangarh was a small estate near Mewar at that time and was ruled by Roop Singh, who had an extremely beautiful daughter, Charumati. When the fame of her beauty reached Aurangzeb, he ordered Man Singh, Charumati's brother, to give her in marriage to him. That is Aurangzeb. The men of Kishangarh's royal house had to consent to this order, fearing a war with the Mughals. But when Charumati heard of this, she outrightly declared to her brother and father her refusal to be married to a Musalman. Charumati, when Charumati heard of this, she outrightly declared to her brother and father her refusal to be married to a Musalman. Charumati was a deeply devotional Hindu and had total faith in Sri Krishna. She told her family that she would prefer death than marry a Mlech. But receiving no assurance of help from her family, Charumati wrote a letter to Raj Singh and sent it to the Maharana. And sent it to the Maharana through her family's trusted head priest. The letter is preserved in Mewar's annals even today. Charumati in a letter stated thus: is a swan to be a mate of the stork. Swan hota hai Rajhans, a stork hota hai apna wo Bagula. A Rajputni, pure in blood, to be the wife of a monkey-faced barbarian. She concluded her letter with a resolve of ending her life if she were not saved from the dishonor of being forced to become a Mughal sex slave. Raj Singh made up his mind to respond to the call of the Rajput princess, gathered an army of its trusted nobles and sent a letter to Ratan Singh Chundawat, the keeper of Salumbar House, under the auspices of Mewar. Ratan Singh was an extremely courageous warrior and commanded a few thousand troops under him. Raj Singh instructed him to immediately leave for Ajmer and intercept Aurangzeb's army, which had been dispatched in large numbers to attack Kishangarh and prevent Raj Singh from marrying Charumati on the date of the wedding. Aurangzeb did not trust his Rajput generals to fight the Mewar army. A large Mughal force was therefore dispatched under a relatively insignificant Muslim general to attack Kishangarh. Ratan Singh Chundawat had been married only for a few days when Maharana Raj Singh's letter reached him. He immediately responded to Rana's call and prepared to leave with his few thousand troops for Ajmer to intercept the Mughal army. But Ratan Singh was enamored by his beautiful wife, who belonged to the Hada clan of Bundi. The wise and brave Hadi Rani, the name for Ratan Singh's wife in folklore, convinced Ratan Singh to look ahead to the task of defeating the Mughals, but she would eagerly await his return. The story goes like this. Ratan Singh just couldn't get the image and memory of his beautiful queen out of his mind and kept sending emissaries to her, even from the battlefield. To the two initial emissaries, the Hadi Rani gave a ring and a fragrant handkerchief as mementos to be given to her husband. When the third emissary appeared, the Hadi Rani understood that her husband would be constantly distracted from his responsibility. Something drastic needed to be done to remind Ratan Singh of his duty towards Mewar at such a critical juncture when Raj Singh's survival depended on Ratan Singh's success. Hadi Rani did the unimaginable. She decorated a plate and gave a red cloth to the emissary to cover it, and then beheaded herself and had her head placed on that plate to be delivered to Ratan Singh. Such were the sacrifices that our amazing ancestors made to keep fighting jihadi predators. मतलब पति वापस ना आए मैदान रणभूमि छोड़कर
कैसे आएगी, फिर लड़ेगा ना जान से।
जी जी जी
अभी तो डिस्ट्रैक्टेड है। ओके, बाप रे।
ना उस समय लेडीज भी कितनी मतलब देखिए कितनी क्या बोलूं देशभक्त तो थी और मतलब बुद्धिमान भी थी। बुद्धिमानी कहूंगा मैं, क्योंकि अपना जान देकर लड़ाई जितवाने के लिए ये काम किया गया, तो कौन करेगा बताइए।
उसके पीछे एक और कारण भी होगा ना कि अगर रतन सिंह वहां पे मर गया तो फिर तो मेरे को सेक्स स्लेव बना लेंगे ना ये लोग। तो अच्छा यही है कि भैया रतन सिंह को और राज सिंह का जो पूरा जो राजपाट है वो सत्यानाश हो जाएगा। वो तो सी डिफेंडेड हर ऑनर एज
काफी दूर
ऑनर ऑफ मेवाड़ आल्सो बाय डूइंग दिस।
हाँ, दोनों चीज मतलब अपना ऑनर भी और दूर की भी सोचिए कि देखिए लड़ाई जितना ही हर हाल में। कैन बी इमेजिन द मैसेज such an action would have sent to the whole state of Mewar? Can we imagine the impact of the visceral image of the queen's head being carried by an emissary to a husband at war? Can we even comprehend what it would have done to Ratan Singh to see his beloved wife's head in a thali? Ratan Singh's life collapsed in the instant when he lifted the red cloth from the thali. It is through such numerous acts of extreme sacrifice of our women over the millennia that Hindus manage to thwart and defeat the most violent barbarians ever to have walked on the globe.
सिर काट दिया छतरानी ने।
Ratan Singh, now free of all worldly baggage, turned to the war with full ferocity and led his men to attack an enemy 4 times the size of his army and decimated it. और इतने दुखी और गुस्से में थे कि दुखी होकर गुस्से में आ गए और चार गुना बड़ा आर्मी को भी डिफीट कर दिए, मतलब परास्त कर दिए। Ratan Singh and most of his troops sacrificed their lives in this battle, but gave enough time for Raj Singh to marry Charumati and return to the safety of Mewar. अच्छा, ये भी हो गया।
Okay.
Raj Singh, who left for Kishangarh with a chosen few by his side, cut down the Mughal imperial guards and went off with Charumati back to Udaipur. The surreal turn of events around Raj Singh's marriage with Charumati provided a huge boost to the morale of Rajputs in Rajasthan, and the Rana used it as a pretext to throw away the scabbard. This was done in order to initiate a war with the Mughals, in which he was determined to vanquish those who menaced this country and his faith.
अच्छा, तो राज सिंह के दिमाग में ये था कि मैं रतन सिंह को भेजता हूँ, औरंगजेब की आर्मी को रोकेगा वहां पे। इन द मेन टाइम आई विल गो टू किशनगढ़ एंड मैरी चारूमती। मतलब ही वांटेड टू बाय टाइम टू गो टू किशनगढ़ एंड मैरी चारूमती। व्हेन चारूमती बिकम्स अ वाइफ तो फिर क्या उखाड़ लेगा। ओके, ऐसा है।
और उससे राजपूतों को मतलब बूस्ट में मिला, मतलब उनको ज्यादा प्रोत्साहन मिला कि हम लोग भी कम नहीं है। यदि दुश्मन का सेना हमसे 4 गुना बड़ा भी है, उसको भी हम परास्त कर सकते हैं। खत्म कर सकते हैं. Charumati's audacious rescue by Rajput king, crushing the evil designs.
ये राजा, अच्छा, ओके, ये है चारुमती, ठीक.
ये म्यूजियम में सारा बना कर रखे होंगे ये. Charumati's audacious rescue by a Rajput king, crushing the evil designs of a Mussalman to marry a pure Rajputni, was also an omen of success to his warlike and deeply religious vassalage. Ratan Singh Chunawat and the immortal sacrifice of Hadi Rani facilitated the grounds for the resurgence of Rajput pride in Rajasthan. मतलब वो भी हाड़ी रानी जो अपना सर काट ली, उसके वजह से ही तो मतलब लोग जीते वहां 4 गुना बड़ा फौज को हराकर. तो इससे क्या हुआ, राजपूतों को और प्रोत्साहन मिला कि हम भी कम नहीं है, हम भी खत्म कर सकते हैं, हमें भी ताकत काफी है. तो उससे क्या हुआ, राजपूत प्राइड जो है वापस आ गया राजस्थान में. Raj Singh demonstrated to the Hindus of Rajasthan that the bullying might of the Mughals was largely a bluff premised on 2 key factors, namely the internal divisions of Rajputs and the incentivizing of mercenaries with the wealth and women of Hindus.
Okay, अच्छा.
If Rajputs could forget petty differences and align with each other, the Mughal kingdom was easily surmountable. If Hindus would protect the women and properties ferociously,
this vicious
cycle of Islamic encroachment could be broken. As if to endorse Raj Singh's challenge to Aurangzeb's authority, the latter matlab Aurangzeb did not pursue Raj Singh into Mewar and brooked this insult by marrying Charumati's sister to his son Muazzam to assuage his bruised ego. अच्छा, फिर भी मतलब ये पीछा नहीं छोड़ा. चारुमती की बहन जो थी उसके साथ अपना बेटे का शादी करवा दिया, मुअज्जम. उसके बाद भी पीछा नहीं छोड़ा. मतलब उस परिवार को कुछ ना कुछ करना ही है. मतलब
ये था कि चारुमती से खुद शादी करना चाह रहा था, लेकिन कम से कम ये इतना तो किया, चारुमती की बहन के साथ में अपने लड़के का शादी करवाया ना, वो इतना तो कम से कम वो टोन डाउन किया.
नहीं तो देखिए, ठीक है खुद नहीं कर पाया, ठीक है वहीं रुक जाता, फिर भी मतलब आगे उसका पावर माइट दिखाना है कि कुछ करूंगा, मैं राजा हूं तो कुछ करूंगा.
Yes.
Srinathji comes to Mewar. Aurangzeb, in his religious zeal, issued 2 firmans orders that brought him to a head-on confrontation with Raj Singh of Mewar. The Mughal ruler sent an order to the Gosais, priest of Mathura, saying if they claimed divinity, they had to show him some miracle. Else he would destroy the Christian temples of Mathura and Vrindavan. On 10th of October of Christian era 1669, the priests of Srinathji temple of Mathura, Damodarji, Balkrishna, Vallabhji and Gangabai took the Murti icon of Bhagwan Krishna and left for Rajasthan to seek shelter for the precious divine idol of Shri Krishna. ये बात सही है, क्योंकि आप जो वहाँ मूर्ति सब देखते हैं ना मथुरा वृंदावन में, वो उसका रेप्लिका ओरिजिनल मूर्ति का रेप्लिका है. सारे मूर्तियां जो है राजस्थान में ही है, मतलब वहाँ लोग प्रोटेक्ट करके रखते थे.
श्रीनाथ द्वारा में वो सब
नहीं, नाथवाड़ा राजस्थान में भी है और इधर भी है, कहीं कहीं जयपुर के पास है, दूसरे जगह भी है, करौली में है. अभी तो करौली से एकदम बदनाम हो गया. No other Rajput kingdom could muster the courage to pick enmity with Aurangzeb. On some pretext or the other, they politely asked the priests to seek shelter elsewhere. Finally, after traversing the entirety of Rajasthan through Jaipur, Kota, Jodhpur, Bundi, etc., the priests approached Maharana Raj Singh of Mewar to seek shelter and protection from Aurangzeb to build a temple of Srinathji in Mewar.
इतना डर कर रहे थे लोग बाग. कोटा, जोधपुर, बूंदी, किसी ने महाराणा साहब ने मना कर दिया, नहीं हम नहीं रखेंगे, बिना तब दुश्मनी हो जाएगी हमारी. ओके ओके ओके.
Following was the reply of the great Raj Singh to the priests. Only when 1 lakh Rajputs of mine have been beheaded can Aurangzeb touch the Murti of Srinath ji.
Wow. Wow. क्या बात है.
Yeah. Raj Singh gave state protection to the idol and the priests and asked them to choose a place for their liking to build a temple for Srinath ji. The priests chose Sihad village near river Banas, about 50 kilometers north of Udaipur. On 20th of February 1672, Saturday, Srinathji's idol was reinstalled at the village, which remains till date as one of the most significant and sacred pilgrimage centers for Hindus and Vaishnavites in particular, the Nathwada. Giving state protection to the priests of Vrindavan was the second major bone of contention in the relationship between Aurangzeb and Mewar. But Raj Singh chose to stand for honor and love for his dharma, than to forsake it at the altar of fear and greed, both traits quite distant from the great Sisodia clan of Rajputs. ये quite distant इसलिए लिख रहा है कि सिसोदिया वंश जो था इन लोगों के साथ संधि कर लिया था ना मुगलों के साथ, इसलिए बोल रहे हैं कि ये इंसान जो है ये अपना सर नहीं झुकाया, कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं किया.
अब ये देखना पड़ेगा कि इसकी मम्मी कौन थी, कहाँ से आई थी, वो देखना पड़ेगा.
ये बिल्कुल. Aurangzeb wrote a letter to Raj Singh forbidding him from giving protection to the priests and Srinathji's idol. The Maharana completely ignored Aurangzeb's rantings and dispatched a large army to the village of Sihar to prepare for a battle should Aurangzeb attack the temple. The nobles of Devgarh, Salumbar and its neighboring areas geared up for battle to protect the icon of the Hindu deity. Raj Singh sent an emissary to the Rathod clan of Jodhpur to assist him in fighting Aurangzeb. अब आते हैं Raj Singh's alliance with Durgadas Rathod and shelter to infant Ajit Singh of Jodhpur. As though destiny had started to tilt towards Hindu fortunes. During the tenure of Aurangzeb, all the three major kingdoms of Rajasthan were ruled by three incredibly talented, brave and staunch Hindu rulers. मतलब समय बदल गया था उस समय, लोगों को एहसास हुआ कि नहीं हम लोग एकजुट हो जाएं. Raj Singh in Mewar, Jaswant Singh in Jodhpur, and Mirza Raja Jai Singh of Amer, Jaipur, were the formidable trio that prevented Aurangzeb from pursuing his plans for the full-blown Islamization of the region. Jai Singh and Jaswant Singh were devout Hindus, but were committed to fighting for the Mughal ruler because of their ancestral loyalty. देखिए, फिर से पढ़ता हूँ ये जगह सब. Jai Singh and Jaswant Singh were devout Hindus, but were committed to fighting for the Mughal ruler because of their ancestral loyalty. उनके पूर्वज लोग तो मुगल के साथ ही थे ना, मुगलों के साथ. लेकिन however, both were displeased internally and adequately demonstrated it to Aurangzeb from time to time. Aurangzeb's continuous conflict with Hindu kings all over northwestern region and with the Afghans in Afghanistan resulted in the mass-scale migration of Hindus from Mughal-controlled regions to Hindu-controlled areas. Cities were vacated by Hindus and small villages sprung up all along the rural countryside. A major economic slowdown began gathering pace and Mughal coffers started depleting. बिल्कुल. तो हिंदू लोग तो जो वाणिज्य व्यवसाय जो करते थे वो सब बंद होने लगा, या खेती बाड़ी जो भी हो, मतलब जब ये मास स्केल में आने लगे तो मुगलों को तो उसका असर पड़ा है, उनके खजाने में दिखने लगा असर. Aurangzeb then planned to implement the jizya or religious tax on the Hindus of his kingdom. Jizya is an Islamic practice of taxing non-Muslims under Muslim rules simply for adhering to their faith. Aurangzeb knew that as long as the Rajput kingdoms of Jaipur, Jodhpur and Mewar stood tall, his plan of implementing jizya would invite rebellion from Rajputs and the possible effacement of the Mughals from Delhi. He now planned the murder of Mirza Raja Jai Singh and Maharana Jaswant Singh. He ordered Jai Singh to go to the Deccan to quell a local rebellion and sent Jaswant Singh to fight in Afghanistan. On 20
क्या बोल रहा है? He ordered means he ordered Jai Singh. Jai Singh who?
उस समय भी हाँ, जयपुर वाले दोनों नाखुश थे, लेकिन उनको उनके पूर्वज तो मुगलों
Okay,
के साथ थे, तो उनको
till
रहना
that
पड़ा
time he
था।
was loyal to Aurangzeb. Jai
हाँ,
Singh was loyal to Aurangzeb.
हाँ, लेकिन अंदर अंदर तो गुस्से में थे ना, क्योंकि हिंदुओं का जो है नाश हो रहा था, तो गुस्से में तो वो थे ही। लेकिन उनको मौका धीरे धीरे मिलता गया, देखिए कैसे मिलता। He ordered Jai Singh to go to the Deccan to quell a local rebellion and sent Jaswant Singh to fight in Afghanistan. On 28th of August 1667, under the orders of Aurangzeb, Jai Singh was poisoned and thus eliminated. Besides his
Wow.
opposition to jizya, Aurangzeb held Jai Singh responsible for secretly helping his deadly enemy Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj of the Marathas by planning his escape from the clutches of Aurangzeb.
That
The
was the
right,
enmity he was having ना, उसने छत्रपति शिवाजी को भगाया था ना जय सिंह साहब ने.
हाँ. The writer could lay hands on two written accounts that prove that Jai Singh was indeed murdered on orders of Aurangzeb. The first one is very poignant. Sri Shankar Singh Ashia writes in his book Charan Digar
दिग्दर्शन.
Digdarshan, Charan Digdarshan, that clearly describes that angered at Shivaji's escape, Aurangzeb ordered his minister Nizamul Mulk to get Jai Singh assassinated. Nizam prepared one Jagannath Ratnu for this job. Jagannath was a very powerful warrior called Yakka in those times. A warrior who killed 100 soldiers in a war was referred as Yakka. Jagannath took Jai Singh to the jungles on the pretext of hunting. Jagannath drew his sword on the Jaipur king and challenged him to a duel. Jai Singh was incapable of fighting him.
एक मिनट
जी जी
बता
जी,
दो, एक मिनट कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया.
कोई बात नहीं.
यही है ना.
हाँ. Jagannath drew his sword on the Jaipur king and challenged him to a duel. Jai Singh was incapable of fighting him, yet he also drew his sword. Jagannath then kept his sword at the feet of Jai Singh and showed him the Farman by Nizam, ordering Jai Singh's execution. Jagannath said, "A warrior born in Charan family can never slay a Rajput. A Charan can never be accused of treachery." Jagannath continued, "Though dharm cannot be bartered for the sake of survival, but I have fed myself with Aurangzeb's money. To free myself from that burden, I had to draw the sword on you. I am free of that burden now. From here on, I am tied to dharm. This sword is for your defense now. You should go to Amer now, and I will tell Nizam that you escaped."
Wow.
Jai Singh hugged Jagannath and said, "You are like a father to me. If you go back to Delhi, you will be killed. No one will believe that Jai Singh could escape a yakka. You two come to Amer with me." Jai Singh took Jagannath to Amer and granted him Bhojpura, Jhodunda, Sunara, Nangal, and 8 other villages in Chakshu area of Jaipur. Jagannath Ratnu settled down in Nangal, where Jai Singh used to go to meet him. Jagannath's progeny still lives in these villages, and some of them happen to be related to the writer. इनका भी टाइटल रत्नो है.
ये भी रत्नो है. अच्छा.
This event underlines the huge paradoxes that our ancestors endured and overcame with such amazing clarity and saved themselves and our dharma. The second mention happens in Jaipur annals, where Aurangzeb is supposed to have instructed the female cook of Jai Singh to poison him. Shamal Das and Todd argue that Jai Singh was murdered by Aurangzeb because Jai Singh helped Chhatrapati Shivaji Raja to escape from his clutches. Recently, Sri Mahendra Khadgawat, from Bikaner, has unearthed a vital clue from the records of Bikaner annals about the role of Mirza Raja Jai Singh and his son Ram Singh in arranging the escape of Shivaji Maharaj. मतलब ये सच है. In the same year of 1667 Christian era, Aurangzeb presented Jaswant Singh's brave son, Prithviraj Singh, with a poisoned khilat, an Arabic robe, which caused the latter's death. Jaswant Singh was shattered at the murder of his son because he had no male heir left to rule Jodhpur. Jaswant Singh still kept fighting for Aurangzeb. On 28th of December 1678, Jaswant Singh too was poisoned and put out of the way by Aurangzeb. Jaswant Singh's queen was Jaswant Singh's queen was pregnant at the time of his death, but was forced by Aurangzeb to move to Delhi and was confined with his queens. Aurangzeb also annexed the kingdom of Jodhpur under the pretext of the absence of a rightful heir at the time of Jaswant Singh's death. Jaswant's widowed queen delivered a son who was named Ajit Singh. Aurangzeb planned to raise that Rajput prince as a Muslim. And then arose a warrior from the deserts of Thar who changed the entire course of the history of Marwar by raising the banner of revolt against Aurangzeb. He was a warrior of such caliber that history has to attach the prefix of Veer to his birth name, Durga Das Rathod. Veer is the Sanskrit word for brave. Durga Das was a simple soldier in Jaswant Singh's army, but rose to the level of a much respected and feared noble of Marwar. Before Jaswant Singh's poisoning, Durga Das promised to protect the unborn child of Jaswant Singh and one day coronate him as the Maharaja of Jodhpur. How Durga Das lived up to his promise and eventually crowned Ajit Singh as the king of Jodhpur is an unbelievable saga of chivalry, loyalty, intelligence, and selflessness, which needs another book to be narrated in its full detail and glory. Suffice to say that Durga Das decided to extricate the infant Ajit Singh from the clutches of Aurangzeb, and a brief account of that needs to be mentioned here because this one event of the rescue of the infant Ajit Singh catapulted Durga Das to the status of a true leader and protector of Jodhpur's dynasty. This act would also prove to be crucial as Ajit Singh grew up to finally weed out Mughal rule from Marwar and Jodhpur totally. This escape has been documented in detail in Marwar's annals and needs to be quoted not only for historical accuracy but also for the sheer poetry of the valor of each noble of Marwar who laid down his life protecting its legal and rightful heir. Taulad Khan, with a contingent of 20,000 troops, surrounded the Jodhpur Haveli in Delhi with the orders of arrest or kill for the two queens and the infant Ajit Singh. The Rathods and their soldiers were furious on hearing the demand of Taulad Khan. When these brave men saw that Aurangzeb desired nothing short of the surrender of all that was dear to a Rajput, their first instinct was the preservation of their prince. The next was to safeguard their own honor and that of their late king, Jaswant Singh. The means by which they achieved their objectives were terrific. The women folk of the Rathod contingent who were stationed with the queen and infant prince were placed in an apartment filled with gunpowder and torched. All was over in an instant. All was over in an instant instead of the long agony of Johar. With what heart could the great Rathods and Charans and other warriors of Marwar have blown their families to pieces is beyond the writer's capacity to describe. Once free of the bonds of family and love, Marwar's Hindu warriors had nothing to look forward to accept a niche in the immortal temple of valor, when the motto was "Youth who died to be by poets sung." Hidden in a basket of sweetmeats, Ajit was taken out of the Mughal palace, and a contingent of about 500 Hindus of Marwar, under the able leadership of Durga Das Rathod, made oblations to the deities, took a double portion of opium, and mounted their steeds to achieve the impossible. The first one to attack was Raghunath Bhati with his 100 soldiers. Durga Das and 400 soldiers left for Marwar from the other gate. Raghunath slaughtered thousands of Mughals and laid his life with 70 of his soldiers. Durga Das had gained 9 miles by then. अच्छा वो निकल गए आगे, उनको मतलब उनका रास्ता समय देने के लिए उनको ये काम किया गया. Nearly 10,000 Mughal troops were put in pursuit of the Marwar contingent. The second challenge to Mughals was thrown by Ranchod Das Jodha and his 60 men. After slaughtering thousands, Jodha and his men too laid their lives. Finally, Durga Das, along with the rest of the Rajputs, decided to take on the Mughals. Chandrabhan Jodha of Panchla was accompanied by his two wives in this escape. He beheaded both of them, both the wives, and surrendered the body to the holy waters of the Yamuna river and joined Durga Das. Can we ever fathom the resolve of these young queens who sat down in front of their husbands to be beheaded? What samskars would prompt such an act of self-dissolution for the sake of protecting their little prince? Such disregard for one's life for the sake of duty towards the land. Without any noise, free of all doubt, no loud arguments, just simple surrender to the task at hand. The Rajput girls freed their husbands of all conflict and responsibility in that act of willful surrender to destiny. No wonder that with such women ready to die for the duty, Islam could not subjugate us for 1400 years. The Hindu warriors were electrified in their assault on the Mughals. Each Hindu took down 30 to 40 Mughals before falling. They kept fighting till the evening. All that was left of the Marwar contingent was a badly wounded Durga Das and six equally battered men, but the Mughals were completely decimated. The names of the other 6 warriors who made it alive are as follows: 1. Roop Singh Rathod, 2. Mokham Singh Rathod, 3. Bhojraj Rathod, 4. Dudi Rathod, 5. Mahasingh Rathod, and 6. Panchan Das Pancholi. The queens and the infant were well beyond the reach of the Mlechs. The son of Marwar had achieved the impossible. The Marwar annals describe this war with poetic connotations and is being shared with the reader because the writer is numb with this mind-blowing sacrifice of Rathods and incapable of bringing out the intensity of what happened on that glorious day for Hindus. The lust for this sacrifice was so intense that it often defeats the very purpose of revenge. The Rathod warriors and their friends wished to die gloriously rather than to inflict death. Thus spoke Ranchod and Govind, the son of Jodha, and Chandrabhan, the Daravat and the son of Raghunath, with the fearless Bharmal, the Oda, Sujawat, and Raghunath. Let us swim, they exclaimed, in the ocean of battle. Let us uproot these Asurs and be carried by the Apsaras to the mansions of the sun. As thus each spoke, Suja the bard took the word. For a day like this, he said, you enjoy your fiefs to give in your Lord's cause, your bodies to the sword, and in one mass to gain Swarg. For me, who enjoyed his friendship and gifts, this day I will make his salt resplendent. My father's fame I will uphold and lead the death in this day's fight, that future bards may hymn my praise. Durga Das, the son of Asho, spoke thus: the teeth of Yavans are whetted, but by the lighting emitted from our swords, Delhi shall witness our deeds, and the flames of our wrath shall consume the troops of the Shah. As Aurangzeb's troops approached, lances in hand with faces resembling Yam, the deity of death, the Rathods and the rest of Hindus of Marwar rushed upon the foe. Wave followed wave in the field of blood. Shiv's Tandav was unfolding on the streets of Shahjahanabad, Delhi. Shankar completed his chaplet in the streets of Delhi. Ratna contended with 9,000 foes. Dillo, the Rawat, made a gift of his life to Devas. Chandrabhan was conveyed to the Apsaras to Chandrapur. The Bhati was cut piecemeal and lay on the field beside the son of Sultan. The faithful Udawat appeared like crimson lotus. Sandhu, the Charan Bard, with a sword in both hands, was in front of the battle and gained the mansion of moon. Every tribe and every clan performed its duty in this day's pilgrimage to the stream of the sword, in which Durga Das ground the foe and saved his honor. 500 Hindu warriors of Marwar slew more than 10,000 soldiers of Aurangzeb on this one day of August, Christian era 1679, and ensured the survival of the valuable prince and the queens of Jaswant Singh. Only 6 horsemen, along with Durgadas, made it out alive and reached the house of Thakur Mukham Singh Balunda, who took the infant Ajit and the mother in his care. Ajit Singh was taken to Maharana Raj Singh of Mewar by Durgadas. Raj Singh immediately granted protection to the infant heir of Marwar. Raj Singh allotted 12 villages around Kelwa as a jagir to the infant and said to Durgadas, Aurangzeb cannot dare to attack a united force of Sisodias and Rathors. Stay without fear in Mewar.
Wow.
आगे सरे रास्ता बन गया पूरा. Thus, a bond was cemented between the Sisodias of Mewar and the Rathors of Marwar, and it would prove instrumental in the final uprooting of Mughal rule from Rajasthan. Durgadas took shelter in the Aravalis of Sirohi and Abu and kept inflicting heavy casualties on the Aurangzeb army. There is an incident that describes particular mention here. Aurangzeb commanded that pictures to be drawn of 2 of his most mortal foes, Shivaji Maharaj and Durgadas. Shivaji was drawn on a couch and Durgadas on horseback. Aurangzeb at first glance exclaimed, I may entrap that fellow Shivaji, but this dog is born to be my bane. मैं मतलब शिवाजी को हो सकता है मैं पकड़ सकूंगा, लेकिन इस कुत्ते को मतलब इनके दुर्गादास जी के बारे में बोल रहा है, इनको मुझे मारना है. Aurangzeb even offered a bribe of 40,000 gold dinars, 40,000 gold dinars to Durgadas if he were to surrender Ajit to the Mughals. Durgadas laughed it off contemptuously. He kept the banner of resistance to Aurangzeb flying and outlived Aurangzeb to reinstate Ajit Singh as the Maharaja of Jodhpur. After Aurangzeb's death in Christian era 1707, Durgadas drove out the Mughal army from Marwar and crowned young Ajit Singh as its new Maharaja. For reasons beyond the scope of this book to be discussed, Durgadas fell out with Ajit Singh in his old age. Thus, the Lionheart Durgadas, after fulfilling the promise he made to Jaswant Singh, rode silently into oblivion. Durgadas left Marwar to die a lonely man with a few loyal chieftains around him on the banks of Shipra River in the holy city of Ujjain. On 22nd of November, Christian era 1718, the writer intends to write a full book on the son of Marwar as his next project. Returning to Raj Singh, as narrated earlier, after the rescue of Ajit Singh from Aurangzeb's clutches, Durgadas kept the child prince of Marwar in the custody of Raj Singh for a few months. This too became a bone of contention between the Mughals and Mewar. अब आता है opposition to Jizya, the game changer in Hindu-Muslim conflict. The last act that evaporated all possibility of peace between Aurangzeb and Raj Singh was the implementation of the Jizya tax on non-Muslims of his kingdom. क्योंकि इसके आगे तो कोई लगाए नहीं थे ना, औरंगजेब के पूर्वज लोग ये जजिया हटा ही दिए थे. Jizya, though, became a blessing in disguise for the Hindus, as the mask of a tolerant Islam was fully overthrown off by Aurangzeb. He was now using muscular force to convert Hindus to Islam, causing a massive rebellion not only in the troops serving the Mughal army under the Hindu kings, but also among the general Hindu populace. अब rebellion शुरू हो गई. Jizya also ensured that Rajput kingdoms of Jodhpur, Jaipur and Mewar would begin to forget their differences and align with each other. इसमें फायदा ही हुआ, सब एक हो गए. Raj Singh was the pivot under whom the Rajput unity was crystallized. He also wrote letters to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and the 10th Sikh Guru, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji, thus laying the foundations of pan-Hindu resistance to Islamic rule over the country.
ये भी अच्छा होगा.
The cunning Aurangzeb knew that as long as Maharaja Jaswant Singh of Jodhpur and Mirza Raja Jai Singh of Amer were alive, any move to implement jizya would mean immediate and unmanageable revolt by both these devout kings, and would also push them both into the willing and waiting arms of Raj Singh of Mewar. As has been narrated, Aurangzeb poisoned both these Hindu kings of Jodhpur and Jaipur and then imposed the jizya order on India in Christian era 1679. Promulgation of jizya immediately evoked a response from Raj Singh. Following a random passages from the letter Raj Singh wrote to Aurangzeb, almost challenging him to attack Mewar if his love for taxing Hindus Hindus needed quenching.
Clenching. Okay.
I have been
क्या
informed
लिख रहे हो? हाँ.
I have been informed that enormous sums have been dissipated in the persecution of the designs formed against me, your well-wisher, and that you have ordered a tribute to be levied to satisfy the exigencies of your exhausted treasury. While your great ancestors pursued generous principles wheresoever they directed their steps, conquest and prosperity went before them, and they reduced many countries and fortresses to their obedience. During your majesty's reign, many have been alienated from the empire, and further loss of territory must necessarily follow, since devastation and rapine now universally prevail without restraint. Your subjects are trampled underfoot, and every province of your empire is impoverished. When indigence has reached the habitation of the sovereign and his princes, what can be the condition of the nobles? As to the soldiery, they are in murmurs, the merchants complaining, the Mohammedans discontented, the Hindu destitute, and multitudes of people are beating their heads throughout the day in rage and desperation. At this juncture, it is told of you, jealous of the poor Hindu devotees, will extract a tribute from Brahmins, Samoras, Yogis, Vairagis, and Sannyasis. If your majesty places any faith in your own books by a distinct called divine, you will then be instructed that God is the God of all mankind, not the God of Mohammedans alone. In fine, the tribute you demand from Hindus is repugnant to justify. It is equally foreign from the good
Good
policy, as it will impoverish the country. Moreover, it is an infringement of the laws of Hindustan. But if the zeal of your own religion hath induced you to determine upon this measure, the demand ought, by requisites of equity, to have been made first upon Ram Singh, then King of Jaipur, who is an esteemed principal among the Hindus. Then let your well-wisher, referring to himself, be called upon, with whom you will have less difficulty to encounter. But to torment ants and flies is unworthy of a heroic and generous mind. It is wonderful that the ministers of your government should have neglected to instruct your majesty in the rules of rectitude and honor. Around the same time, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj too wrote a letter to Aurangzeb challenging him to extract jizya from Raj Singh of Mewar. The grounds for the final conflict between Mewar and the Mughals were thus laid, which would conclude a great resistance to the Islamic invasion of India before the mantle of fighting the Mughals shifted to the great Marathas. A chapter that establishes the greatness of Mewar for defeating the mighty Aurangzeb and forced him to the plains of Deccan and eastern areas of India. In a strange way, Hindus should be grateful to Aurangzeb for exposing the true designs of Islamists in the subcontinent. Aurangzeb's impatience of converting Hindus to Islam was a slap on the face of Hindu kings, deluding of coexistence with Islam. Thus, with the mask of liberal Islam shattered, Hindus saw the barbarity and bloodshed that Islamic rule was thrusting upon them. All over Bharatvarsh, Hindus rose in revolt. Raj Singh was the last great king of Mewar who militarily marched and defeated the Mughals conclusively. Raj Singh's progeny did continue the struggle, but with the rise of Maratha power, the Hindu flag of resistance went into the hands of Shivaji Maharaj, and the Peshwas. The crucial role of Raj Singh in weakening and pushing Mughal forces out of Rajasthan and thus laying grounds for the pan-Hindu resistance cannot be overstated. Aurangzeb humiliated and driven out of Mewar. The account of the war between Raj Singh and Aurangzeb was an enduring conflict lasting 2 years between Christian era 1679 to 80 and ended with Aurangzeb's army decimated, humiliated, and driven out of Rajasthan completely. Merits narration here. The preparation of Aurangzeb made for the conquest of Mewar resembled those of the conquest of a potent kingdom than for the subjugation of a local zamindar, the title by which the Mughals referred to the local Hindu princes, a vassal of the so-called mighty Mughal empire on whose colossal spread Mewar was but a speck. He called his son Akbar from Bengal, Azim from Kabul, and also Muazzam, the Mughal heir from Deccan. With this formidable array, Aurangzeb entered Mewar. Raj Singh responded. जी सर
मैं पढ़ूं आगे
नहीं सर पढ़ देता हूँ Raj Singh responded adequately to Aurangzeb's assault. He first sent emissaries to all big and small Rajput kings to appeal to their Hindu pride and amassed a massive army. Raj Singh's life and deeds inspired every Hindu youth of Rajasthan to enlist in massive numbers with a fierce determination to destroy a Vidharmi who was out to destroy Hindu Dharma. The Bhils, Palindas, and Palipats, lords of the passes, embarked with thousands of bows and hearts devoted to the cause of a Hindu Path, chief of the Hindus. Sir, कोई problem नहीं है सर मैं पढ़ देता हूँ. The red banner of Mewar was raised high and mighty against the most powerful and vicious sovereign anywhere in the world at the time by the Sisodias and Rathors, Maharana Raj Singh of Mewar. The first royal edict of the Maharana was to follow the centuries-old tactic of the scorched earth policy of his great ancestors. The peasantry, the mercantile class, the shepherds, blacksmiths, entire villages vacated the plains and moved to the hills, where once again the Bhils fed them and served them. This caused extreme hardships for the Mughal army, as food supply had to be ensured from Ajmer, which was regularly attacked and looted by Mewar's Hindus. Raj Singh divided his forces into three armies. He dispatched his eldest son Jai Singh to the crest of Aravallis, ready to attack the invaders from either side of the mountains. The younger son Bhim Singh was dispatched to the western side of Mewar, around Abu, to keep channels of communication open with Marwar and Gujarat. Maharana Raj Singh kept the main body of the Mewar army with himself on the left flank of Aravallis, ready to cut off any possibility of retreat by the Mughals. Aurangzeb entered Debari on the outskirts of Udaipur, and instead of entering the valley where Jai Singh was waiting for him, sent his general Tiber Khan and his son Akbar to Udaipur with 50,000 troops. The Mughal emperor must have been tipped off about the placement of Raj Singh's troops by an insider. And this one move of Aurangzeb to stop at Debari and not commit his entire army into the valley leading to Udaipur saved his army from a complete slaughter. Aurangzeb's son Akbar advanced into Udaipur from the northern passes unresisted. Palaces, gardens, lakes, and isles met his eye, but no living thing. All was silent. मतलब कोई आदमी नजर नहीं आया. सब खाली करके निकल गए थे. Akbar set up camp at Udaipur and instructed Taj Khan and Rohila Khan to start demolishing temples and destroying sculptures. More than 200 temples in and around Udaipur were razed to the ground. Numerous skirmishes took place around these temples, where 20 to 50 Mewar Hindus killed 3 times their number before being overwhelmed by the invading Mughals. The battle around the famous Jagannath temple was very fierce. The gatekeeper of the royal Udaipur house was a warrior named Naru Barhat. As Raj Singh was vacating the palace and leaving for the hills, someone mocked Naru, saying, "You have taken gifts for decades as the gatekeeper. Won't you stay back and fight for the temple?" Naru sent his family with the Rana to the hills and stayed back at the gates of Jagannath temple with chosen warriors. When Taj Khan and Rohila Khan came to the Jagannath temple, Naru and his 20 men gave battle to an entire army of Mughals and killed close to 500 troops before being overpowered. Thus, the people of Mewar kept giving a foretaste of the things to come to the Mughals. Aurangzeb moved to Udaysagar from Debari to
Debari.
rejoin Akbar. At Udaysagar, Aurangzeb destroyed 3 beautiful temples of Shiva and Vishnu. Raj Singh moved in with his troops and placed them in such a way that neither Aurangzeb could proceed further nor could Akbar retreat from Udaipur. Raj Singh was
46
a master war. Raj Singh was a master war strategist and used his immaculate knowledge of Mewar's topography to his advantage. Mewar's Maharana pushed Akbar to commit a blunder, and after weeks of waiting, Aurangzeb's son made the suicidal move. He chose the mountains and passes of Gogunda as his exit, and this was the worst choice he could have made. He could make, sorry, and this was the worst choice he could make. Prince Jai Singh, along with his troops and the Bhil army, waited precisely for this move. To quote James Todd, the allodial vessels of the mountains, along with Bhil auxiliaries, outstripped Akbar's retreat and blocked up farther egress in one of the long extended valleys termed as Nal, closed by natural ramparts of coal, on which they formed posts of trees, and manning the crest from each side hurled destruction on the foe, while the prince, in like manner, blocked up the entrance and barred retrogression too. Death menaced them in every form. The trapped Mughal army was starved and was headed towards annihilation when Prince Jai Singh showed mercy to them, admitting overtures from Akbar, confided in protestations to renounce the origin of the war, and gave them guides to conduct them out of the trap to defile Dilwara onwards to the eastern side till they reached the safety of the walls of Chittor. ये तो गलत काम किया है. While Akbar was trapped in the Aravallis, another Mughal general, Delire Khan, approached from the west through Desuri Pass from Marwar to rescue Prince Akbar. Mewar's army allowed Delhire to approach unopposed, and when they were fully inside along an intricate gorge, the mountain gorge, Vikram Solanki and Gopinath Rathod, both gallant nobles of Mewar, attacked the Mughals, and after a desperate conflict, destroyed the Mughal contingent completely. A huge amount of money and weaponry fell into the hands of the Mewar army. Their plan had worked to perfection. With the Mughal army dissipated, trapped, and partly destroyed, it was the right time for Raj Singh to attack Aurangzeb himself somewhere around the mountains between Udaipur and Chittor. Todd quotes the British historian Robert Ohm, who is credited to have many historical details of that period. The Mughal army advanced along the defiles with incredible labor and with so little intelligence that the division which moved with Aurangzeb himself was unexpectedly stopped by insuperable defenses and precipices in front, whilst the Rajputs on one night closed the straits in his rear by felling the overhanging trees, and from their stations above prevented all endeavors of the Mughal troops, either within or without, from reversing the obstacles. Udaipadi, the Circassian wife of Aurangzeb, accompanied him in the arduous war, and with her reticence and escort was enclosed another part of the mountains. Her conductors, dreading to expose her person to danger or public view, surrendered. She was carried to the Rana, who received her with homage and every attention. Meanwhile, the emperor himself might have perished by famine, of which the Rana let him see the risk by confinement of 2 days, when he ordered his troops to withdraw from their stations and suffered the way to be cleared. वहां से भाग गए. Ohm's account is also endorsed by R.S. Bhatt in his book. As soon as Aurangzeb was out of danger, the Rana sent back his wife, accompanied by a chosen escort. The Rana only requested in return that Aurangzeb should refrain from destroying the sacred animals of their religion. But Aurangzeb, who believed in no virtue but self-interest, imputed the generosity and forbearance of the Rana to the fear of future vengeance and continued the war. Soon after, he was again well nigh enclosed in the mountains. The second experience of difficulties, well beyond his age and constitution, and the arrival of his sons Azim and Akbar, determined him not to expose himself any longer in the field, but to leave the conduct of operations to his sons. Thus, the great clan of Rajputs of Mewar, ably assisted by the general population of Mewar, and an alliance with the gallant Rathors of Jodhpur under Veer Durga Das, nobly contested the palm of glory. Or Aurangzeb simply could not withstand the fury of the Sisodia Rathod forces. Though equipped with superior firepower manned by European gunners, the Mughal army was no match for the just cause and avenging steel of the Rajputs. Aurangzeb was humiliated, ignominiously defeated, and compelled to a disgraceful retreat with an immense loss of men and equipment. Raj Singh captured the imperial standard of the Mughals, horses, elephants, and immense state of equipment. The humiliation of Aurangzeb and his sons by Raj Singh and his sons and his nobles did not end here, but continued for 2 more years. Of the multiple battles fought, a few deserve special mention and, and are being described briefly. Aurangzeb retracted to the safety of Chittor and joined his sons Akbar and Muazzam there. In spite of the reverses and hardships endured by Aurangzeb and his army, he continued one act of barbarity very religiously, and that was destroying of Hindu temples. Even while retreating and nursing his wounds and contemplating how to respond to an ascending Rajput power, Aurangzeb is recorded to have destroyed 76 Hindu and Jain temples in and around Chittorgarh. Meanwhile, a noble of Mewar, Sanwal Das Rathod, direct line of Jamal Rathod, was wreaking havoc on the supply lines of Mughals from Ajmer to Chittor. This caused alarm to Aurangzeb with regard to his personal safety. Leaving the perilous warfare of Mewar to his sons, Aurangzeb retreated to the relative safety of Ajmer. Foiled in his vengeance, personally disgraced, twice granted a pardon by the great Maharana himself, his women captured and returned, his armies depleted, his invincibility crushed, his religious zeal blunted, Aurangzeb the Tatar was pushed out of the sacred lands of Mewar by the pious and glorious blood of Bappa Rawal and Maharana Pratap Singh flowing in the veins of one of the greatest Maharanas of Mewar, Raj Singh, a Maharana whose name finds no mention in the history curriculum of this unfortunate nation of ours, a Maharana who did not rest on the affluence and calm created by his father and grandfather, but chose to respond to the Islamic zealotry of Aurangzeb in kind and with equal force. Upon his return to Ajmer, Aurangzeb dispatched Rohila Khan with 12,000 troops to capture or kill Sanwal Das. The Marwar troops came to the rescue of Sanwal Das and the joint army defeated the Mughals at Purmandal, pushing them back to Ajmer. While Rana and his eldest son Jai Singh succeeded in destroying Aurangzeb in the east, the younger son Bhim Singh continued with his own pursuits in the west and made a powerful diversion against the Mughals by invading Gujarat and seizing it. Bhim also annexed the crucial state of Idar and mercilessly slew the Mughal vassal Hassan and his troops. Bhim went on to Badnagar and Patan and plundered them. Sidhpur, Murassa, and other towns of western Gujarat shared the same fate. Bhim was advancing to Surat when Raj Singh recalled him out of benevolence to the local Nawab and Sultan, who sought mercy from Mewar's Maharana. Bhim was a staunch Hindu prince and inflicted retribution for the Muslim plunder of the temples with an equally furious demolition of mosques all over southern Rajasthan and northern Gujarat. Shamal Das says in the Veer Vinod, the Maharana sent his son Bhim Singh with 4,000 horsemen to Badnagar in Gujarat, where he demolished 300 mosques and extracted 40,000 rupees as penalty from the city dwellers and returned triumphant. One episode of the vengeance of Hindus under the Maharana needs special mention, after which we shall come to the three major battles fought by the Maharana and his two sons, which led to the conclusive victory of Mewar and ended with Aurangzeb extending a hand of friendship to Raj Singh. A treaty ensued. This treaty not only ensured total safety and prosperity of Mewar, but it also secured the freedom of Marwar from the clutches of the Mughals. For 2 years, the intense Mewar-Mughal conflict for superiority went on with Raj Singh and his two sons and a dozen odd noblemen of Mewar fighting for Hindu supremacy over the murderous Aurangzeb, who had bared all his jihadi fangs. One such nobleman was the Jain civil minister of Mewar, Dayal Shah, who had shown great military acumen and loyalty to the Rana and earned his trust. Dayal Shah headed a flying force that would indulge in shoot and scoot tactics to harass the Mughals. Raj Singh sent a large contingent with Dayal Shah eastwards to Malwa, and the latter ravaged the region up to the Narmada and Betwa rivers. Todd describes Mewar's retribution by Bhim Singh and Dayal Shah against Islamic onslaught thus: contrary to the Rajput character, whose maxim is parcier subjectis, Mewar's military leaders were compelled by the utter faithlessness of Aurangzeb to retaliate against his excesses.
क्या अंग्रेजी लिखता है टॉड है, बाप रे, लैटिन भी मार देता है बीच में।
नहीं, वो पढ़ा लिखा था, वो गलती से यहाँ इंडिया में आ गया। लोग बोलते थे उस समय अनपढ़ अंग्रेज आते थे। ये आदमी का मैं पहले भी देखा हूँ। Dayal Shah ravaged Sarangpur, Devas, Sarong, Mandu, Ujjain and Chanderi. Every Mughal supporter in these areas was put to the sword. To continue using the words of annals, husbands abandoned their wives and children, and whatever could not be carried was given to the flames. The Qazis were bound and shaved, and the Qurans thrown into wells. For once, the Mewar army avenged themselves in the imitation of the Islamic tyrant, even on the religion of their enemies. Dayal Shah is said to have razed hundreds of mosques to the ground. He was unrelenting in his vengeful slaughter and turned Malwa into a desert. Once again, Malwa was ravaged to fill the coffers of Mewar, just as it happened at the time of Pratap, when Bhama Shah did the same to Malwa, albeit on a smaller scale. Flush with the looted riches and weaponry from Malwa, Dayal Shah met the forces of Prince Jagat Singh at the foothills of Chittor and fought a battle with Aurangzeb's son Azim near Chittor. Jai Singh camped at Chittor with 13,000 horsemen and 26,000 soldiers when Dayal Shah joined him. The night before the decisive battle for Chittor, Mukhim and Ganga Shakawat, Ratan Chudawat of Salumbar, Chandrasen Jhala of Sadri, and Sabal Singh Chauhan of Baidla made powerful motivating speeches to the Mewar army, as recorded in the Mewar annals. Someday in July 1680, the Mewar army sneaked around the fort at night and under the cover of rains wiped out the Mughal force. The Mewar army returned to Prince Jai Singh with looted elephants, horses, nagadas, war drums, tents, weaponry, etc., which the prince distributed among the nobles and the men. Chittor was finally regained by the Rajputs after years of bloodbath and sacrifices, never to be lost again. Azim fled from Chittor with his life and was hotly pursued by the Mewar army till he reached the safety of the fort of Ranthambore and sealed himself inside. Maharana Raj Singh, in the meantime, was stationed on the western frontiers of Mewar, touching Marwar. Raj Singh fulfilled his promise of protecting the infant Ajit Singh, the Rathod heir of Marwar, by taking on the Mughals at Ganoda, the chief town of Godwar. The Rathods under Durga Das fought jointly with Mewar against Aurangzeb. The Mughal army was totally decimated and kicked out of Mewar and Marwar after this battle. Somewhere in the north-central Mewar, Prince Bhim gathered his Sisodias and was joined by the Rathods to fight a battle with Prince Akbar and his general Tiber Khan, whom they completely defeated. This victory is mainly attributed to the moves of a Rajput chief who first looted 500 camels from the Mughals and then hurled flaming torches on them, unleashing mayhem on the Mughal camp. The pandemonium that ensued gave the right opportunity to Mewar soldiers to attack and comprehensively defeat the Mughals. Thus, the Mughal-Mewar conflict, premised on multiple.
Dada, the choice of word loot is appropriate here by Mr. Ratnu. The victory is mainly attributed to the Mohs and Rajput who first looted. ये जो लूट टूट दिख रहे हैं, मतलब आप लड़ाई लड़ रहे हो तो मतलब लूट क्यों बोल रहे हो? आप लूट थोड़ा रहे हो उनको.
हाँ, तो एक तरह का तो लूट ही है. मतलब क्या है, ये लोग भी लूटते थे, ये भी दिखा दी कि हम भी लूट सकते हैं.
जीत तो बोला मतलब
इस हिसाब से बोला गया ना. देखिए, ये इसी हिसाब से बोला गया कि इन लोग तो छोड़ता नहीं था किसी को. फिर भी तो देखिए, शुरू में मैं क्या बोला कि अरे क्यों छोड़ दिया वो अकबर को, मतलब बेटे को, औरंगजेब का जो बेटा है उसको छोड़ दिया. औरंगजेब की बीवी कोई आई थी, वो क्या पता नहीं अजीब सा नाम
भी रखा हुआ था उसको.
हाँ, उसको भी मतलब छोड़ दिया गया वापस बाद में. लेकिन स्ट्रेटेजी थी ये कि इनको आगे बढ़ते दें हम. बाद में जो है ऐसा जगह पे ले जाए कि पहाड़ की तरफ खाई हो, या आगे ना बढ़ पा. पेड़ को काट दिया गया, सब जितने पेड़ थे सबको काट कर ऐसा कर दिया गया कि पूरा घेराबंदी में आ गया और भाग भी नहीं पाए. तो ये लूट जो है वो उस तरह का लिखा गया है.
अरे ठीक है,
ऑथर का अपना ख्याल है. Thus, the Mughal-Mewar conflict. Thus, the Mughal-Mewar conflict, premised on multiple reasons of hatred between the two powers, reached culmination with the expulsion of Aurangzeb and his sons from Mewar permanently. Aurangzeb was so overwhelmed by the ferocity of Mewar's valor that he never set his eyes or foot on the pious land of Mewar again till his death in Christian era 1707. Raj Singh and his nobles, along with the Rathors of Mewar, dented the myth of Mughal superiority permanently and depleted the army and resources of the Mughals to such an extent that it took the Mughals years to replenish them. By then, they had to shift their focus to the Deccan and eastwards towards Assam. Aurangzeb, in his religious zeal, provoked a fight that spun out of his control and ended the Rajput-Mughal alliance of 150 years, which had been the main reason for the continuance of Mughal rule in Delhi. With the twin states of Marwar and Mewar alienated, and the Rajputs of Jaipur under Ram Singh remaining indifferent, Aurangzeb had no alliance left with the Hindus to placate the Hindu masses. Hindus all over the country rose in revolt against the temple destruction and jizya imposition by this intolerant Mughal zealot. Aurangzeb's madness and bigoted zeal to Islamize India led to an unparalleled consolidation of Hindu forces in India when Raj Singh wrote letters to Sri Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj in Punjab, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in Maharashtra, and fellow nobles and Rajput kings of Rajasthan to form a Hindu confederation to eliminate the Mughal scourge permanently. All this would have shaped the trajectory of the 1,000-year-old Hindu-Muslim conflict in this region very differently, but for one more act of treachery by Hindus who were close to Rana Raj Singh. देखिए यहाँ भी वही treachery by Hindus who were close to Rana Raj Singh. On 3rd of November 1680, after the Mughals had been convincingly kicked out of Rajasthan, and when Raj Singh was planning to terminate the very seed of Islamic rule in India, he sat down to have lunch with a Charan friend, Askaran, whom he used to refer to as his brother. Both friends consumed rice porridge, khichdi, and minutes after that, both died due to the food being poisoned. मतलब कोई जहर डाल दिया था, कोई जहर डाल दिया था. At 51 years of age, the great Maharana's life came to an abrupt and tragic end by the unchivalrous connivance between one of his insiders and his enemies. Looking at Aurangzeb's record of poisoning the Rajput kings of Jodhpur and Jaipur and the conduct of his great-grandfather Akbar, eliminating his enemies in a similar deceitful manner, it can safely be assumed that Aurangzeb might have been behind the poisoning of Maharana Raj Singh, although we may never be able to prove this conclusively. Thus, the sun set and the greatest dynasty of kings to have ruled anywhere at any time in recorded human history. Raj Singh remained true to the glorious legacy of his ancestors. Like Bappa Rawal, he forged a Hindu alliance to take on the murderous assault of the Islamic invaders on India. Like Kumbha, he was a man of exquisite like Kumbha, he was a man of exquisite tastes and nurtured art and architecture in Mewar, the most notable being the construction of the Rajsamand when a great famine struck the people of Mewar. Like Sanga, he never let an iota of weakness and crippling thought intervene in his instincts to take on the Islamic zeal of Aurangzeb on the flimsiest of grounds. His fortitude in rescuing Charumati, giving protection to Srinathji, and granting state protection to the infant Ajit Singh demonstrate his traits of fearlessness like his great ancestor Rana Sanga. Like Pratap, Raj Singh demonstrated the steely resolve and meticulous military planning to fulfill the aim of never being subjugated by Islamic onslaught at the time. Though Raj Singh never faced an economic crisis of the scale that Pratap did, the range and degree of armed opposition faced by him was also several degrees more severe than Pratap. Yet Raj Singh stood like a rock around whom the bereaved Hindus of the region could rally or seek refuge. He was the chief reason for the eclipse of the Mughal rule in Delhi after Aurangzeb's death. He was a king who gave up the comforts of the palatial retreats of Udaipur and moved to the jungles of the Aravalis to endure the torments of weather and terrain to lead Hindu resistance against Aurangzeb. He was a devout Hindu who picked up the sword to protect the Devs when no other Hindu king would dare to. A compassionate ruler who opened the coffers of the state to his subjects to endure the great famine that struck Mewar, and an honorable man who rose to Charumati's defense when she beckoned help from him. Raj Singh was a family man who chose to protect the infant Ajit Singh from the most powerful and evil army at that time. Raj Singh was a visionary king who saw the reality of the Islamic onslaught and was not lulled into complacency either by sloth or avarice, and instead forged an alliance with all the Hindu kings of the time to fight this evil. There couldn't have been a greater Maharana to write about than Maharana Raj Singh of Mewar as we end the saga of the uninterrupted line of the Sisodia kings of Mewar, a surreal saga of resistance to the most intolerant and treacherous horde of invaders motivated only by religious bigotry, unrestrained plunder, and merciless slaughter. The Sisodia Rajputs of Mewar matched the Islamic invasion of our great Vedic land, soldier to soldier, steel to steel, fire to fire, animal to animal, guts to guts, and blood to blood. They kept the Hindu saffron flag flying for an awe-inspiring 1,000 years from the ages of Bappa Rawal to Maharana Raj Singh. The annals of Indian history.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
The annals of Indian history are not just about the Mughal kings and the puny sultanates or the colonizing greed of the British Empire. In fact, India's magnificent history is about how the oldest surviving and continuous civilization stood solid in the face of thousands of years of barbaric atrocities that annihilated all other civilizations except the Hindu civilization. India cannot be free till every child hears the story of the survival of Bharat and Dharma.
Yes.
This is a story.
Yes.
This is a story that deserves to be told again and again. A story of a multitude of generations that fought the most barbaric cruelty with heroic sacrifice. A story that survives in the dusty library of books of unsung authors who recorded against the grain the truth of this survival. A story of sung ballads that are a part of folklore, which have traveled through generations passed on from father to son and mother to daughter. An unbroken, unchained melody that sings the glory of their ancestors. A story that many have tried to erase and ignore in our history books and civic life by historians who seem to have written with a singular purpose of filling Hindus with an inferiority complex. A story that has waited in the wings For it's time to take center stage and a story that we can forget only to our abject peril. A story that opens our eyes and hearts to the unbelievable resolve and grit of the great Maharanas of Mewar, who endured heat and cold, fire and death, insults and forsaking, loss and desertions, pettiness and treachery, and yet stood firm in one resolve: freedom from the bigoted zeal and barbaric atrocities of Islamic invaders. A story that stares us in the eye and asks us to follow the footsteps of these great giants to the path of glory and freedom, and fills our hearts with unmanageable pride and voluminous gratitude to these avatars who could only have descended from heavens, so we may celebrate forever their traditions and their legends. This is a story that should adorn our puja grihas, like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, for us to imbibe
Imbibe.
upon, act upon, and recreate in our lives. It is time to recognize that once all pervasive and universal faith, it is time to recognize that the once all pervasive and universal faith of Sanatan Dharma survived in just one corner of the world in Bharat only because the great Maharanas and Hindus of Mewar and other Rajputs of Bharat nourished it with their blood for thousands of years and more. It is time to drag out of the dungeons our amazing valor and heroic past and place it again on the pedestal it deserves, so that future generations can look back with pride at the honor of the dharmic culture and at the Maharanas who never surrendered in the face of such vicious atrocities. It is time to take back our dignity from the hands of fake historians and show our
Everlasting.
everlasting indebtedness to James Todd and Shamal Das and other writers and Sheila Lake's rocket edicts, because of whom the story is not buried forever in the passes of Mewar. History will never forgive us if we do not revive, record, and narrate the truth for our future generations. The truth of a story that isn't a story, but the painstaking sacrifice and endless endeavor to never bow down to barbarians and never cow down in the face of unimaginable suffering, of unimaginable suffering for one single reason: preservation of Sanatan Dharma. It is with a profound sense of fulfillment and honor and gratitude that I come to the end of the story of the resistance of Maharanas of Mewar to the Islamic invaders of India. What better way to close the story of Hindu resistance than with the saga of the honorable, compassionate, and mighty Raj Singh of Mewar? I am well aware of my incapacity to do justice to the great saga of these Dev Purushas. But if this book is able to give even the slightest of glimpse into the unimaginable sacrifices and struggles of the celestial beings, then I would consider this book to be worthy of being kept at the feet of these great ancestors of Hindu Dharma.
Thank you, Ratnu Sahab. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Majumdar Sahab,
Ji,
for
ji, my pleasure, sir. My pleasure as always.
क्या बात है, ऐसे भी लोग हिंदुस्तान में हुए हैं जिनको छुपाया गया है।
सर मैं एक सेकंड में आऊं सर।
हाँ हाँ
एक सेकंड।
यस
एक सेकंड।
ओके, हिरन में अंदर आ रहे क्या? प्रेम जी नमस्कार। तो इस लाइव स्ट्रीम के साथ हम लोगों ने महाराणा के पूरे जितने भी महाराणा थे मेवाड़ के, उनको हमने कवर कर लिया है। आशा है आप लोगों को ये जितने भी हम लोगों ने स्ट्रीम की हैं अच्छी लगी होंगी, आप लोगों के पास भी कुछ ज्ञान पहुंचा होगा। जैसा रत्नू साहब ने लास्ट में अपील किया था कि ये ऐसी कथाएं हैं, ये ऐसी स्टोरियां हैं जो सबके घर में रहनी चाहिए, और रहनी ही नहीं चाहिए, आपको अपने नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को पास ऑन भी करना चाहिए कि हाँ भाई ये क्या हुआ था, क्या नहीं हुआ था, और कितना हमारे जो पूर्वज हैं उन लोगों ने सेक्रीफाइस किया। प्रदीप नमस्कार।
चौबीस दादा।
जी जी जी,
मैंने
आशीर्वाद,
कहा
ढेर सारे आशीर्वाद।
एम दादा थोड़ी देर के लिए जा रहे हैं, अकेले हो जाएंगे, मैं आ गया फिर। मैं सुन रहा था ना, पीछे काम करता जा रहा था, सुनता जा रहा था।
अब आप लोग इसको लो, मेरे को थोड़ा सा बाहर घूम करके आना है, 2 घंटे से ज्यादा बैठा हुआ था। दादा तो 9 बजे आ गए थे, लेकिन मैं कुछ पहले से ही बैठा हुआ था। 9 बजे शुरू किया ना हम लोगों ने, हाँ 9 बजे।
जी जी जी,
हाँ, थोड़ा पहले आ गए
मैं
थे।
लिंक शेयर कर देता हूँ, बुला देता हूँ, वो तो आपने कर दिया ना कंप्लीट।
हाँ हाँ, नहीं मैं ये सोच रहा था कि 2 घंटे का स्ट्रीम हो गया, इसको बंद कर देते हैं, ज्यादा चलेगा।
5 मिनट बात कर लेते हैं, 5-10 मिनट, फिर मैं
वो
बंद
ठीक
कर
है,
दूँ।
वो बंद कर लेना, मैं थोड़ा सा बाहर आके आता हूँ, थोड़ा हल्का हो जाता हूँ, ठीक है।
अभी तो किसी को बोलने को ही नहीं मिलेगा ना, इसलिए। फ्रेंड दादा आ जाओ, लिंक दे दिया है। दादा म्यूट हो।
ये
बीबी
अवर
दादा
स्ट्रीम
म्यूट
में
हो।
लिंक भेजता हूँ तो प्रेम जी को नहीं मिलता है क्या? प्रेम जी का नंबर गलत हो रखा होगा शायद।
मैंने उसमें भी दे दिया है, ओपन स्ट्रीम में दे दिया है। तो दादा कहाँ थे एम दादा? नमस्कार प्रेम दादा। नमस्कार प्रेम दादा, आ जाओ।
आगे जी आगे, थैंक यू, धन्यवाद जी, नमस्कार जी, नमस्कार।
नमस्कार। और आज कैसा रहा? क्या दादा वॉइस चेंज कर रखी है क्या, या नेटवर्क खराब है? हाँ दादा, लेकिन समझ में कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा है। चलो दादा, एम दादा कोई तो आ नहीं रहा, तो फिर मैं इसको कंक्लूड कर देता हूँ, है ना। तो आशा है आपको पसंद आया होगा आज का जो अध्याय है, और अगले अध्याय के साथ पुनः जो है प्रस्तुत होते हैं आपके सम्मुख। कृपया इस कंटेंट को लाइक करें, शेयर करें, सब्सक्राइब करें, बेल आइकन दबा लें अगर नहीं दबाया है। तो चलते हैं, फिर मिलते हैं। जय हिंद, वंदे मातरम, भारत माता की जय।